Time show. Matt and Nick are back doing it live, at least the video version, so they can riff on the limited number of important Star Wars topics presenting themselves these days. They start with a few rumors about some new gaming great Black Series figures before calling out all of the misinformation coming out around Project Maverick, a game that has had its official reveal delayed multiple times by now. They'll also discuss the rumored live-action Thrawn casting period, and a fun listicle from X-Clue magazine featuring Legends characters that need to be action figures. Of course, they'll wrap with their dedicated fan segment, including a new question of the week, Battle of the Ages update, and the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. Cue the music. Hey now everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Star Wars Time Show. It's Matt and Nick, and we are back and we are live, although my current bitrate is 330 kbps, and I'm getting yelled at by YouTube. So who knows what that means? Maybe we're coming off all blocky and you can't sound us, or you can't hear us, but we're here. We're ready to do a show. And as you heard from the announcer, there isn't that much to talk about, but somehow Nick and I always find a way to make mountains out of these Star Wars news molehills these days. So hopefully the bitrate will figure itself out at this point in time, because we're ready to talk some Star Wars. Hey, we got artist Sean Forney in the chat. Who knows if anyone else will show up? We did miss last week for, Blackout Tuesday in honor of that movement, and we probably lost most of our audience, but that's all right. They will come back, and if they don't, that's cool with us. Oh, there we go. Now Tones is in. Spencer's in. Wise up. Hey, hey, hey. All right, my friends. They're starting to come in. The a-holes are lining up for a brand new and live edition of the Star Wars Time Show. All right, buddy, let's go ahead and check out what we're getting into. And I'm starting to think YouTube's full of shit, because OBS is telling me I'm churning out upwards of 5,000 KB, not over 9,000, but 5,000, although YouTube is claiming that is a lie. Hey, we got Klondike Studios up in here. What's up, guys? All right, Nick, so let's go ahead and get down with the first topic we've got up here on the screen. And this comes to us by way of X-Clue magazine from Yak Face. Now, anyone listening to this episode, if you are a collector, in particular a Star Wars action figure collector, you definitely know of the Yak Face. Guy's been around for a while. He gets tons of scoops, in particular with Hasbro products, which, they make the Black Series line. But, we're teammates. We're on the same team as X-Clue magazine, so we always got to rep them as well. But last week, was it last week or maybe Monday, Sunday, over the weekend, who knows? I decided not to be a lazy asshole and threw up a post. But we're getting a lot of rumors out there that 2 new gaming great figures will be headed to EB Games Canada, GameStop here in the US. And those figures are none other than Mr. Darth Nihilus from KOTOR 2 and Jang, as I type in the post here, Jango Fett, the cousin of Jango Fett, his twin brother actually. Jango Fett, based on his appearance in the Bounty Hunter game from the old days of PS2 and the original Xbox. Not the Xbox One, just the Xbox, the big square one. Yes, that one. So I don't know, dude. I mean, I hope this is true. It sounds like it's true, because a lot of this information, from what I remember, was kind of sifted out of some EB Games inventory databases or some shit. I mean, that is how crazy collectors get, Nick. I mean, they like scan POS systems to see what type of inventory might be coming down the pipe. And it looks like Nihilus, obviously one of the bad guys, a part of the triumvirate from KOTOR 2. I mean, he would make a fantastic figure, no?
Yeah. What now? I am all on board with Nihilus, because, like you said, he's one of the characters that was super awesome in KOTOR 2, and really you don't see a lot of outside of custom figures in the toy photography community. But my big question mark here is Jango Fett. Like, we already have Jango Fett as a figure. We already have, actually, have multiple Jango Fett's. So why not go with somebody else for your gaming greats line? I mean, in my estimation, Jango Fett is more known for his role in the the prequel trilogy in the movies than in the games.
Did you play that game? Did you play Bounty Hunter?
I never did.
Well, you're probably young and poor, like real poor back then, right?
Like, I definitely wasn't buying my own things at that time. Like I had a PS2, so I could have played it, but it just never, like, that one never really hit my radar as hard as some of the other games.
Dude, I'm drawing a blank too, because that would have been knee deep in my college years, and I deleted a lot of those brain cells at this point in time.
Yeah, let me see if
just from college itself, and then everything I've done to my brain since. But
2002.
Oh yeah, so, Jesus! I mean, I probably didn't even know my name back then.
Yeah, and then you had a re-release, a digital re-release on PS3 and PS4.
I mean, the Jango is interesting.
Why not go with somebody like, for example, like Darth Treya? Why not go with Darth Sion?
I think Sion, really, the Triumvirate would be a badass 3-pack exclusive. I mean, I know you and I are probably much more in the know these days on the Sith Triumvirate because of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and Treya back in the day was this big coveted tune to get because she was a Sith raid type of reward. Yeah, and then you could pair her with Nihilus, who had the one punch knockout, and then Sion, who would just sit there and be like, and just suck up all this damage and rebirth himself even stronger.
Exactly.
No, I'm with you, man. Like Tones here in the chat, Star Killer. I mean, that's another. They're making all the fucking stormtroopers make the goddamn star of the game, right? I mean,
the main character.
Let's go. Let's get Witwer in character form. I mean, yes, he's canonized through Maul, but let's get his ever
visage,
right?
His actually, like, they modeled Starkiller off of Sam's face.
It looks just like Sam.
So I think that would be a better move. Jango is questionable, but you know what? It's the EB Games line. I guess they get to choose who their gaming greats are, but I'm happy that we're getting Nihilus because he is such a stark figure. He has such a unique look. That mask is always really.
I'm looking at this art now, and I'm going to ask you because you're kind of the legend studier. What race was this guy? I mean, like, this image is so vibrant and clear, you can almost see. I mean, he looks kind of alien in the face, right? Like his skin looks black.
I knew what it was back in the day, but so the mask itself, like he is a human. The mask itself, I don't know where it comes from.
But like, does he have like darker skin? He's not like a humanoid like a Luke or anything. Or okay, he's a humanoid, but more alienish, or no?
No, he's just a straight human. He is just a human. He had some sort. Okay, so like just reading the canon here, because again, I haven't played KOTOR 2 in a while. It says Nihilus's affliction developed to the point where the Dark Lord was forced to call upon the dark side of the Force and encase his spirit within his mask and armor to stay alive. So he had some sort of malady.
I want to see this guy without the mask, because I mean the mask is so iconic that you don't even think, who is the man behind the mask?
Yeah, I know. It's very weird.
I love Nihilus. There's two reasons I love Nihilus. One, he's become like a recurring Howard Stern show bit because, they went to like a nerd fest, something we like to. I mean, I'm not a fan when Howard makes fun of geeks because they like geeky stuff, but it is funny. They did a bit where a guy was dressed up as Darth Nihilus, but he's trying to do an interview in the mask.
Oh God!
So the whole thing became that just making fun of the guy because he'd be like, "Oh, who are you, sir?" And he'd be like, "Oh, I'm Darth Nihilus." So I mean, that's just kind of the bit there. But then also from Swago, he still, now these days there are squads out there that have outgrown the Sith Triumvirate, but they are still quite deadly when paired together. And you gotta love his one-hit punch.
Yeah, I know. If you can get the cooldown reduction correct on him and like take advantage of that, you can turn a fight pretty quickly. I mean, That's why that triumvirate was so good, because you could use Trey to give him cooldown reduction on all of his abilities. Then you could use, if you put Thrawn in there, then you could have further cooldown reduction by giving him extra turns. And then basically you would have what was a 20 cooldown, like a 20 turn cooldown turned into like a 3 turn cooldown. And then if you knock out the right person, you could potentially win the whole matchup. So yeah. I use that squad for a good bit as my arena squad, and it's still
they're useless now in arena, but they're still good for territory battles, war, this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah,
and yes, Nick and I are getting our little Swago rocks off right now, and I'm telling you, people, play the damn game.
It's fun. And it's free.
I love this game. I love it. I play it every day. I'll be playing it right now. I missed fucking General Skywalker, by the way. Got all the way to the 4th phase where you control an Asajj team with the battle droids, and they just weren't relic correct. So anytime I don't know if have you ran against gas yet, Nick?
No, I mean,
I'm not like
really
the kind in your stomach, but generally, Anakin.
I'm not really to the point to where I can battle those yet, honestly. So, I'm not even close to getting them.
He's nuts, man. Like he taunts the entire time until you knock down his shield. Then he gets down and Qui-Gon prays.
Oh, God.
And then the clones just start fucking waylaying your ass. Like one will start, and then it just starts like a turn meter chain. From what I've heard, unless you have the new Galactic Legends, be it Rey or Kylo, or a mere gas team, you pretty much can't take them out.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I can see in the arena rankings and stuff like that. All you see are basically gas teams. Then you throw in like an odd, Darth Revan in there. Or you throw in some other like random squad that has somehow got into the top 50.
I wish the intern would come back. I guess we turned him off after only 2 live streams, but he's running a squad now in his arena. He's still, top 2, where he's back to a Revan lead with Gas, Legends Rey, Hobo Yoda, and I forget the other Jedi. And I was like, that is kind of a hodgepodge squad for the way he plays.
Wow, yeah,
so.
I would never think of that.
Yeah, if you're listening, intern, send us a note from the GIMP chamber there. You hear it? You hear me? Shut up! Shut up! Okay, he's good.
Yeah, let us know what you're doing, because that is interesting. I have seen like my shard, because my shard is severely behind yours just from when I started playing. But my shard has only a few of the Galactic Legend Rays.
Oh boy, lucky man, man.
So they're not dominating the field yet.
Anyways, back to this. I still think Nick has the best idea. You give us the triumvirate in a package, and then Tones with the Star Killer. That's where we're at. We don't need another Jango. And surprisingly, the already released Black Series Jango is quite a good looking figure. I mean, if you take the helmet off, it doesn't have the photoreal paint, so Tamir still looks a little wonky. But are you really taking that many shots of a Mandalorian without a helmet on anyways?
Yeah, I know. They all look the same. So just leave the helmet on, have the cool effect, and then take this figure, take this extra spot for the gaming greats, and then give it to somebody who actually is a gaming great, not a movie character that has eventually made
you could even
game.
You want to get deep. You got Kyle, right? I mean, you could really start throwing out some names here.
You could get in Jaden Core. You could Kyle Katarn. Yeah, there's a ton of different avenues you could go down.
They better hurry up, because I'm pretty sure GameStop probably won't exist in the next year or two. So
yeah, unless they make a complete sort of business model change to be more.
Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, like that's their only chance, is to turn into like a tchotchke's shop or something.
But even then, man, it's like with the virus and shit, all that's getting whacked. I mean, I would love to have a dedicated toy store again in America. I mean, ever since Toys R Us left, there is none. Your best bet is a Target and a Walmart, and depending on what part of your town you live in, it could be nothing. It could be great. You never know. So, I mean, I would take that. I think GameStop is fucked. We're going to stick on the Black Series topic for a bit. So, stay tuned. Once we get pre-order information for these guys in the States, we'll throw it out there. Or at least we'll say we'll throw it out there, and then we won't, and then we'll talk about not throwing it out there. So it's kind of the same thing, right? I mean, you eventually learn through us that it's out there. But we want to run with something that is not StarWarsTime.net. Yes, I know, but they are part of the media network here, the X-Clue magazine team. And I want to run with this post. If you're a fan of X-Clue magazine, which most people in the chat probably are because they're into toy photography, but we talked about last week. Great magazine for people that are into geeky stuff in general, collecting. It's not just all Star Wars, but young Jack over there that runs the whole show, he's starting to pump out listicles, and he did one this past weekend, or maybe last Friday, top 5 Star Wars legends we need as Black Series. And I thought it was a pretty awesome topic, one that we could definitely dive into on our show because of Nick and his legend background. And obviously I'm the nut job that spends more money than one man should spend on little pieces of plastic. So Jack had to qualify this. This is pre-Disney canon because I know some people already took him to the woodshed over having AV in there. I'm talking about Ventress.
Yeah, Ventress.
But yes. I like some of his picks, and I'm still going with the first one here, Nick. Probably is canon now because they fucking showed the guy in the Clone Wars, and they still won't come out and say that they did.
That's what I was going to say. I think that it's soft canon. It's kind of hard to describe what happens when something very obviously comes into canon, but then Disney or Lucasfilm doesn't come out and say that this is the character.
I mean, that
but you are
was
right.
Zizor. That was Prince Zizor in the Clone Wars when Maul was telling his syndicate there,
his crime syndicate, the Shadow
to hide. Yeah. I mean, it was the Black Sun representative, and he looked exactly like this guy. If you're looking at the video version that Jack is using to make a case for Zizor as a figure, and
the green alien, longer hair. So,
and I don't know shit about this guy. I just know he looks cool, and he looks like he would make a great Star Wars figure, especially if they gave him some soft goods with that regal looking robe he's got, the shade green head, kind of that samurai ponytail. So
he would definitely make a good figure. I mean, unfortunately, this guy released a little bit before my time.
Oh yeah, hell, dude, this is
universe canon.
This is pre even Nick as a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, this is 1996, so I was 8 years old. So this is well before my time. I have read some of the older novels, but unfortunately, I never got to Shadows of the Empire before Legends canon was aborted. But in general, as a figure, this guy would probably be the most unique Star Wars figure that we would have, because he looks more like a Marvel character than a Star Wars 100% character.
Cosmic Marvel. I mean, I could see the Guardians of the Galaxy squaring off with this guy for sure. I don't know, maybe that's why I like him. I just remember him from back then in 96, I was more worried about if girls liked me and wanted to touch me and stuff like that. But, my dad still was collecting a lot of the green and red back Kenner Star Wars figures, and they did a bunch of the Shadows of the Empire lines. I know I have multiple 3.7-inch versions of this dude laying around in my Star Wars crack attic somewhere. But I was just always drawn to him because, as you said, as a great point there, he doesn't look Star Wars correct, and I think that's why he stands out. So I would love to see Zizor as a fig. Obviously, I mean, AV should be a fig at this point. I mean, she has been canonized. Jack was riffing on specifically the version featured in Dark Horse: The Clone Wars. Where she had some great panel time there, and I've always liked Asajj Ventress. I loved how she was introduced in Gennedy's Clone Wars, right? Mm-hmm. You have that great, I think it's like at least 2, maybe 3 episode arc where her and Anakin just kind of go off to a distant planet and beat the shit out of each other. And then just in proper Clone Wars, she has a fantastic arc. I mean, she has not even a prototypical Sith trainee arc, right? Because she's used by Dooku to a point. And then they're like, all right, we don't want her anymore. They try to get rid of her. She gets out, and then she teams back up with the Night Sisters and kind of reinvents herself. And then ultimately kind of becomes quasi good and sort of helps Ahsoka with her situation there at the end. So
5, I mean, she was always a very interesting character, not just in terms of, like you mentioned, her Clone Wars arc and the way that she was brought into canon, but she continued through into the new novels as well. So she's definitely canon. There's a whole novel written about her called Dark Disciple, where her and somebody a little bit farther down the line on this list here, Quinlan Voss, have a relationship together. So not only do you have the relationship between Ahsoka and Asajj at the end of season 5, or the proper ending of the original Clone Wars, not the season 6 that we got from Netflix, but you also have her coming in later in the series having a relationship with a proper Jedi in Quinlan Voss. So her line, her arc has always been really interesting, and then just her character in general. Right. The way that she looks is very unique in terms of a female Sith antagonist.
Oh yeah, that white, the stark white, the bald head, the head tattoos. Mm-hmm. I like the way she talks, and I am with Jack. Like I like the Clone Wars version. Clone Wars, I feel like she's got more of an angular face, right? Where this one is more true to just a straight up human face, if you will. But she'd be a great fucking figure. I mean, I can just see it right now. You get her, decked out in that bald head, the photoreal application. I'd take her Black Series. I'd take her figure arts. It doesn't matter. We need it. So another good pick there by Jack.
It's surprising that they have not had her as a figure yet. It's so weird because she is. I mean, if you're thinking about, what they've been doing recently in the toy collection community, they've been focusing a lot on like the prequel era, right, specifically Clone Wars, and I'm is with such a big part of that series.
I'd like to say, well, they only make the main movie character. Well, that's not true, because there's an Ahsoka figure out there. There's a Rex figure. Rex isn't in any of the movies. You could argue Cody was in a movie, so that's why he got one. Gree was in a movie. Okay. But I mean, like, you're really reaching. I mean, like Commander Bly and all, like, you got all of these clones that, yes, are technically in movies and stuff like that, but you also have a lot of characters that never were in movies. I mean, it's time to, Ahsoka Tano. Look at this. Nick's ready. He's going to go out there and stump for Asajj. He doesn't even collect, but he's ready to fight the good fight for AV. So I'm with him.
Essential character to the Star Wars canon, I would argue.
This next one here, I would love to have, because to me, this is one of the more unique Star Wars characters that just kind of pop up during the Clone Wars era before the franchise was sold to Disney, and that is Dirge.
And this character also popped up not only in comics, but he was in the Gennady series.
I believe, Nick, this was before I even read comics, but I believe this Dark Horse comic was based on what was being put forth in Gennady's series. Because that was canon. I mean, George hired the guy to fill in the gaps between clones and Sith. That was the exact reason those 2 seasons of that cartoon were made. I mean, it's not like this guy just won the license and ran off and made whatever he wanted to. It was still very guided by Lucas, if you will. Not as much as proper Clone Wars, but it's not like Gennady is just like, oh, thanks for the license, George. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. I'm going to make whoever the fuck I want. Anakin's going to be able to fly in space, this, that, and the other thing. So it's a shame that we've lost some of these characters, because, like I said, Dirge he's like a mix of what the Separatists were trying to do with droids.
And with Grievous,
right? There's some organics to him, because he was basically like a worm, right? He's like there's like another sci-fi Halo. Yeah, isn't Halo like what are they? There's a species that they can form human bodies, but they're essentially just a bunch of worms together. Right, like the big brutes in Halo, like the big fucking guys that run around with the arm cannons.
I don't.
Anyways, they're essentially all made up of worms, but the worms kind of symbiotically can form shapes, together. Right? Yeah. And to me, that's kind of how Dirge was. But if you just look at him, like the graphic we can see here in the video version. By the way, if you are listening to the audio version, we do a video version on YouTube if you want to check that out. Either way, we're talking about Dirge from the 2003 Clone Wars and the Dark Horse Clone Wars comic. But I mean, he's got some Transformer look to him. He's got some battle droid look to him, some Shredder look to him, right?
I was gonna say he has like a samurai style of like upper body. I mean, you have those shoulder pauldrons. You have that kind of. It's almost like a little bit of a like a cloak style of thing coming off the top of his head. His head looks just like you said, Shredder from Ninja Turtles, with a very samurai-like look to it.
You gotta Nick, look, he's got all this shit, right? I mean, he's probably got cannons coming out of his asshole, but look what he still has on his hip. He still has like a 6-shooter on his hip.
Yeah. A gun, like a physical gun to shoot. You can see a fucking chain gun built into his left arm, right. But he still has a physical gun. He
still has a little gat. He's got his conceal and carry still. I love that.
Yeah, and then he's got shoulder cannons and everything.
Am I crazy here, or is that symbol on his chest sort of look like a mythosaur?
That is a mythosaur, 100%. Yeah, that is 100% a mythosaur. So I don't know. He's definitely not a Mandalorian. If you look up,
well, I think he was technically bounty hunter-ish, right?
Yeah, he was now on the fan wikis and stuff like that. He is a Gendai bounty hunter. So Gendai is his race.
Okay,
and it says here that he has a very strong distaste for Mandalorians.
Got you.
Yeah, and even killed their leader at one point, apparently. So this is obviously all Legends canon. I believe this isn't like anything that's still in proper canon. But yeah, he was not a Mandalorian, but he did have a distaste for Mandalorians, which is probably why he kind of emblazoned their logo on his chest.
Yeah, he's just he is just a badass looking character. Like he's just one of those. You don't get many oversized steroid injected Star Wars characters, and this is one of them. And I think he would be great. Great as a figure, hell, great live action, but that's probably never going to happen.
Yeah.
The other one here, I mean, this is like another no-brainer. I mean, so many fans talk about her. She did have a major impact on Star Wars back during the now deemed Legends era, and that's Mara Jade. I mean, the Emperor's Hand, the wife of Luke Skywalker, the mother of the Skywalker children. So, yeah, another fantastic figure. I mean, I think it'd be a figure that a lot of us fans have just always enjoyed the idea of who Mara could have been if she ever made it into canon or remade it into canon. I mean, she does have a very interesting story, right?
I mean, her line from, like you said, introduction even to death at the hands of her nephew, Jason Solo, then turned Darth Caedus, was always incredible. I mean, she was, like you mentioned, the top assassin, the Emperor's Hand for Emperor Palpatine, encounters Luke Skywalker trying to kill him, and then eventually she, turns to the light side, marries Luke Skywalker, has Ben Skywalker, their son, and then becomes a Grand Master on the New Jedi Council and helps to establish the New Galactic Republic. And then eventually is killed by Jason Solo, aka Darth Caedus, at the end of the Star Wars Legacy novels. Like, her character was incredible. I mean, she was a very different style of Jedi to Luke because of the way that she was, the way that she was trained, the way that she came into the Jedi Order, the way, and you compare that to Luke, and at that time, Luke was still Luke had made a lot of concessions, a lot of changes to the Jedi Order, but Mara Jade was very, I guess you would say, call it a liberal Jedi. She didn't really like even the restrictions that were in place for the Jedi at the time.
No, I mean, she was essentially a dark side assassin, right?
Yeah.
Being asked to become a goody two-shoes.
Yeah, and she was always of the mind that you should not limit yourself to just the light side of the Force, which is why they even allowed Jason, while he was in the Order, to get some training in the dark side from a former, now this is all Legends canon, from a former apprentice under Darth Vader. Her name was Vergere. And
see, this is why we keep Nick around. Like this shit right now is just going woo right over my head. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about?
So they were she was even allowed allowed that to come into the Jedi Order, that you could learn of the dark side. You could even dabble in it, just so you weren't surprised if you were to encounter it, I guess, was kind of the thinking that Luke and Mara Jade had when they allowed that to happen. But she was such a good character, and she she had these interpersonal relationships, not only with Luke, but with other characters like Jason and Jaina Solo, Leia. I mean, she was such a well-respected character in Legends canon. And it's a shame that they can't bring her back in the same form that she was in Legends, because having a not like a foil turned love interest for Luke Skywalker would have been so cool to see in live action. But I guess there are ways you could still bring back the character of Mara Jade in a different way. But I don't know if you could do it and have fans of Legends canon and old fans really have the same sort of respect for her.
There's no way, as you said. I mean, at this point, the bed has been made. I mean, Luke Skywalker's canon has been written, like it or not. So she'd either have to come in and shack up with Rey or something at this point. So you would essentially, if you were going to bring her back as a love interest for Luke Skywalker, you would have to have that all done, and then her either dead or and then she wipes his mind so he knows that that she never existed. Yeah, it is a bummer, because I'm looking at this graphic Jack threw in there of their wedding. I'm like, that seems like it would have been fun. Yeah, it would have been a fun wedding to go to. We all whip out our lightsabers, like wee.
Like reading these, just like talking about Mara Jade makes me want to go back and read some of the old novels again. My parents brought back some of some of my books, some of my old Star Wars books here. And a couple of them that I've already unpacked are, Mara Jade's a part of the story, and then obviously if you just go back into the Yuuzhan Vong War days and the Dark Nest trilogy, like she is a huge part of that. I mean, it's one of those characters that was so good in Legends canon and really did deserve a turn in proper canon now, but I don't think we're going to get it. But yeah, I agree that we definitely need a dope ass Mara Jade Black Series figure at some point in here.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the history lesson on that, because I'm going to need another one on this one. Quinlan Voss is number one. This is the one that Jack really wants to be made into a character here. Yeah.
So Quinlan Voss is technically still canon. Like I mentioned, he did make it back into canon via novels with Ventress. So the Dark Disciple prequel novel has these two characters actually coming together, starting a relationship together, and then eventually Quinlan Voss is killed at the end of that novel, I believe. But he is kind of another one of the the fallen Jedi, the lost, I guess you could say it. He was a Jedi, but then he just kind of I don't want to say went the way of Dooku, but he did kind of fall down that dark path of trying to find out more about the Sith Order and all these things. And then, as Yoda said, once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny. And that's kind of Quinlan Voss's story. And then some of these images that you see of him here, you can see that he
looks fucking crazy, man. He looks like a Tarzan Jedi. Like that one shot, he literally looks like he could sit there and talk to some animals and then cut your face off with a lightsaber.
Yeah. That is essentially what became of him. He becomes almost like this Tarzan like figure. This it's hard to describe, but he's like a feral Jedi, a feral Force user.
I can see that. He's like, "Arr, arr." You talk to him, you're just like, "Hey, Quinlan, how you doing?" He just goes, "Ah, grr."
But it is odd that he never really got a proper reintroduction to canon.
Yeah, we got the peanut gallery here saying he's in the Clone Wars, he's in Phantom Menace. I mean, he's all over the place. What the hell have I been watching?
So technically, he is in Clone Wars, but honestly, if you he is in a very small portion of it, and you wouldn't necessarily remember him, but the proper reintroduction to new canon happened through a novel. So I'm pretty sure that obviously the Quinlan Voss arc within Clone Wars was written well before.
I'll have to get there, because I'm still slowly going through my chronological rewatch. I mean, it's been a while. It's been a while, people. I'm taking it on the chin here. I should know this shit. I mean, I guess I should. I do run the Star Wars Time show, but That's your fault for thinking we actually know Star Wars, you idiots.
But his was very early. His arc was
I think he looks bad.
Honestly.
Like, he'd definitely make a great figure, because that's really the point of this post we've been talking about. I mean,
yeah.
He looks interesting. It's like Conan, like Jedi Conan.
Yeah, exactly.
Conan the Jedi, something like that. So, yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, that was a fun little topic. So I know Jack's been working on these, not Star Wars. He's been doing other franchises too. But anytime we get something like this, or really, I'm going to open it up to you bozos in the stream right here. I mean, if you guys ever see something that we might not have posted to StarWarsTime.net, or like a topic you'd want us to riff on, let us know. We're here for you, right? We are those clowns, jump, dance, make us be entertained. We'll do it for you. So good one there from X-Clue Magazine. Don't forget to check them out. Plus, we got some news. Actually, when we talk about the question of the week, we'll introduce some news about X-Clue Magazine coming up. So, but that's just a tease. Now on to the Project Maverick. Just want to thank, we had some people join when we were in the middle of that segment there. Pigs and Bacon 123. You gotta like that. Andrew's in here. I believe that's Kingdom of Weird. And then Panic and Skywalker, which I think I just shared a shot of Panicans today to the feed there on Instagram. So
nice.
Thanks for joining, everyone. But moving on to this Project Maverick stuff. All right. So first things first, we're going to start calling some people out. Bespin Bulletin. For those of you in the chat, you might have heard of them. I mean, they kind of made a name for themselves on IG, either through cherry picking stuff that MSW has put out, or supposedly they put out their own stuff. But for the past few weeks now, Bespin Bulletin's been claiming Project Maverick information. Again, Project Maverick is supposedly an EA game. EA has a license, so it would at least be published by them. That we featured months ago, right? Like
like in March.
Yeah, some dummy intern hit the go button too early, and it popped up on PSN or whatever. So no one really knows what it is. Is it going to be a VR experience, traditional game, shooter, whatever? But we were supposed to get some news today, but just today, go figure, Bespin Bulletin comes out and says, just kidding, it's been delayed again till the June 18th. And I believe this is like the fourth or fifth time they've changed the date. And, this just goes back to what Nick and I have always said, and why we haven't yet kind of dove head first into just making shit up. It's very easy to make shit up, right?
Yeah, it really is. And especially something like this where it's already been leaked, so it's out there. And then with the announcements of the new consoles right around the corner, it's very easy to say like, hey, you're probably going to get some sort of news
by the way, people, guess what would be going on right now if it weren't for COVID? E3. I'd be out there. So yes, this is the time for game reveals. We're going to get the PS5 stuff, I believe, in a day or two, right?
June 11th. I think, yes.
And they delayed that because of everything happening socially last week, which, good for them. That's what they should have done. But I don't know. It's just like, how many times can you say something's going to happen and then renege and say it's a different date and a different date and a different date? But it doesn't matter. I mean, they'll keep their rabid supporters. And it was funny, we actually got yelled at a few weeks ago for making fun of MSW on YouTube. So
yeah, good. It's like, dude, if you're gonna continue to support and defend somebody like MSW after, now it's not even allegations, like the truth about how he treated people online came out, like that's on you, but we also have the right to call him a creep because that's verifiable now. And I'm not
like, I don't want to sound like a complete asshole. This is a me problem. This isn't a Star Wars Time Show problem. It just burns my ass when really, no-namers, which I'm a no-name, Nick's a no-name, Star Wars Time Show's a no-name. I'm not trying to I'm not an idiot. But these no-namers, they get vaulted up amongst like little Star Wars fan circles. It's like, what? Noah Outlaw and this, and it's like, it's just like, I mean, Nick and I could write a post every week speculating on shit and make it sound like it's coming, and then just be like, oh well, it didn't turn out. It's not what I like to do. I mean, I ran a geek news site for 10 years, and only broke shit that I knew was ironclad when I'd get it from my Hollywood sources. And even then, because I was a nobody, I get fucking shit on. You're stupid. You don't know anything. You're wrong. You're lying. Clickbait. Die. That type of stuff. It's fun to be on the internet, my friends. Trust me. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with myself and Nick for even doing stuff on the internet, because this...
I'm much happier being a more entertainment and community focused site than trying to be somebody like Noah Outlaw who just or Mike Zero who just makes shit up. Like
Mike Zero, that's Greg didn't get up today. I'm assuming because we didn't tell him in time we were going to be live. He was pissed last week. Poor Greg Bird set an alarm for 4 a.m. last week to get up and watch the Star Wars Time show, and we didn't do it. So I think he's mad at us right now.
I posted the hour, going live in an hour.
Well, yeah, his dead ass was asleep. It was probably like 1 a.m. over there. So
yeah.
But anyways,
he'll catch it.
There's really nothing new on Project Maverick outside of we might get an announce around EA Play now. It's like, okay, well, yeah, that makes a lot of fucking sense, right? EA's going to have their big game reveal event. They would probably reveal their next Star Wars game. So it's what it is. Don't take it wrong. We're not sitting here shitting all over Bespin Bulletin. We're just kind of saying, hey, they've missed this mark now multiple times. So take it for what it is. That is the land of sharing rumors, my friends. So, all right.
Yeah.
Up next, dude, we're not going to spend a ton of time on this because it's not really, there's nothing to speculate on. It doesn't really get my juices flowing outside of the creative ones. And I know a lot of creatives listen to our show. I mean, just in the chat here, we have traditional artists. We've got the toy photography scene. So there are people that like to create here and that follow SWTS. So I just wanted to put this out there. I shared it. But if anyone's familiar with Cinematic Captures on YouTube, it's a great channel for Star Wars fans because he mostly just puts out Star Wars content. So what he did, it was just kind of a proof of concept to show people, like, look, you can now, with Unreal Engines and virtual cameras and, taking assets from video games, you can now, in your apartment, create a Star Wars film and go to different planets and script action scenes that have blaster bolts and lightsaber and this, that, and the other thing. So this Order 66 short, I urge you to watch it, but more importantly, go to Cinematic Captures channel and look at the kind of the how-to breakdown video he did.
Yeah, he has it's called Making Order 66 in Unreal Engine Virtual Production, and it shows you basically how he goes about staging all the action that you see, and then shows you the behind the scenes in the engine, what he used to build and what he used to put together. This looks about as real as it can get.
I mean, dude, this is exactly what they're doing on The Mandalorian and all these new Star Wars projects. I mean, yeah, they have the volume, right? That massive set with video walls and video ceilings and floors. But they're doing the same thing. I mean, they essentially can figure everything out in the virtual world. They can have cameras move in the virtual world. They can use live action cameras and stitch it in. So I just thought it was very interesting. It's something that if you are a creative and you've got the know-how, I think if you spent some time, I'm not saying you're going to learn it in a week, but maybe give yourself a month or two. Study up the resources in Unreal Engine and how to make films in them. I mean, this is shit people could do right now. And I don't even think you probably need thousands and thousands of dollars. You'd probably need a rig, right? But most people that are already doing digital art are going to have some sort of a rig. You probably have to pay for a license from UE. And I don't know if they charge that, if they still charge or whatever.
Unreal Engine, I'm not sure how much it costs now, but it's definitely not free.
Right. So I mean, it's just a proof of concept for virtual filmmaking. Those of you that have thought I want to make a Star Wars movie, actually, but how could I ever do this? It is free. Okay. Yeah, I just think you have to share profits if you sell.
Yeah, it's publishing licenses get started for free. Pay 5% when your product succeeds. And then your creator's license is free to use and 100% royalty free. It says for creators in industries outside of games working on internal and free projects, custom applications, linear content, stuff.
So yeah, if you use it for film, you're free and clear, right? I mean, it sounds like it's fair use. You can do whatever you want. But if you're going to build a video game, then you got to give them some money.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just wanted to put that out there. Maybe we'll spark something. might be jumping ship. Where you going, Papa P? But I don't know. I thought it was neat. I thought it was interesting. And those of you that like to dabble in being creative, maybe even more so than just with our action figures, you can move on to start making some films there. So
yeah, for sure.
I just thought that was pretty cool.
It was a cool video too. It's only 2 minutes long, so it takes some time. Cinematic captures on YouTube. Really good stuff, really good insight into how you would do that if you are a creative like obviously to do something like this, you still have to know how to animate. Like animation is a very big part of it. So, still awesome stuff.
Yeah, it's cool. So those of you, all right, Triple P, Joe, Sean, I want some Star Wars movies made in Unreal Engine 4, starring myself as the Sith and Nick as the Jedi, and you can make him a Rhodian just like this Jedi.
There you go.
Okay, dude. So the big one here, I think the one that some people want to riff on in the chat, and that is the live-action Thrawn rumor, right? Yes. And again, who the fuck knows how truthful this is? It does make sense knowing what we know about the character of Thrawn and where his story has been left. But it's coming out here. What we got? The Dis Insider and Daniel RPK. I mean, these are some people that I know. Daniel RPK, I think, has hit on some stuff.
Yeah. But he's one of the newer leakers or sources of information.
But the story is Disney is out there looking for a live action Thrawn. So they're looking for an actor to play Thrawn. And we actually had earlier in this chat, I forget who threw it out there, but it was actually a pretty good idea. And that would be, you cast a live action Thrawn to bring him back in Mando to run the Remnant.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, Nick and I, we've talked about this 1,000 times. So let's just go ahead and start speculating here. So
it's interesting. Yeah. So the idea to cast Thrawn to run the Remnant would be a way to bring him back in, but what it would also spark is how you bring back in Ezra Bridger.
Yeah, they're kind of tied at the hip at this point.
Yeah, like for those of you who haven't watched Star Wars Rebels, that show ends right before the start of Episode 4. So you essentially end right before you have the invasion of Yavin 4 and then the destruction of the first Death Star and everything like that happens in A New Hope. And the way that it ends is you have Thrawn and Ezra together on the Chimera, Thrawn's Star Destroyer, and then it essentially gets, ported out of the galaxy via these, I can't remember the name, they're space whales. I can't remember the name of them. That
works. Space whales work. Yes. Apparently space whales are all over the place because I just watched it was Treasure Planet. Have you ever fucking seen Treasure Planet?
Yes, the one where you essentially find that's Atlantis.
It's a Disney movie. It's on Disney Plus. Threw it up for the kid. That is one of the more unique Disney cartoons I've ever seen. I mean, it's like pirate ships in space.
Okay, yeah, I have not seen that one.
Anyways, random tangent. Go ahead.
But these space whales have hyperspace, not technology. It is kind of like a biological response to whenever they inhale a certain type of gas. It's like I don't know if it's Tabana gas or not. So they
essentially their farts propel them through hyperspace. Okay.
Yeah. So during the final battle between Thrawn and Ezra on the Chimera, these space whales can commune with Ezra, so they attach to Thrawn's ship and then they use hyperspace to jump out of the galaxy, and you don't know where they are. We assume that they're in the unknown regions somewhere because they're nowhere in the known galaxy. So in order for Thrawn to come back into the Mandalorian, he would have to make it back from the unknown regions or wherever he was teleported through the hyperspace whales. And then you would assume that either, when Thrawn is back, either one, Ezra is with him, or two, Ezra is dead.
Yeah.
So,
and we know they're still out there, by the way, on a bridge of a Star Destroyer that has no windows in it. So, I mean, they should be dead. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But it's not real life, right? I'm not Neil deGrasse Tyson here. I'm not going to start picking apart sci-fi movies for not having proper physics, but
you could a lot of these Star Destroyers, and if you watch any other sort of like
a shield went up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like spaceborne show. Yeah.
Well, you remember, like,
comes
literally the fucking whales reach through the windows.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. But anyways, they're still alive. But we know that they're at least still MIA after the Battle of Endor, right? I mean, I don't know. Do we ever get a timeline how far the epilogue is in Rebels, where Sabine's talking, painting the mural, and then Ahsoka shows up, and it's implied that they're going to look for him?
I think we talked.
Is that
about
right
it
after? Is that like a year or two after? Either way, I mean, the Empire has fallen. It's been at least 3 or 4 years that Ezra and Thrawn have been out, doing God knows what in the unknown regions.
Yeah. And then, like, you could even argue, and I know that this isn't necessarily hard. Like I said, there's now hard canon and soft canon, in my opinion. So this isn't necessarily hard canon, but like in Galaxy's Edge through Disney parks, you've had the interactions with Crowness.
Yeah, the Cronus or whatever. I know you always place that at Age of Resistance. We got to remember that Batu and all that still existed during the Empire, the fall of the Empire. It's always been around. The timeline could still be during, Mandalorian timeline, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird how that works now, because we know that Galaxy's Edge in Disney is set during the Age of the Resistance timeline.
Yes,
they've stated that they could make it be whatever they want. Like all they would have to do is change the people who are in costume and do some small changes to the aesthetic of Galaxy's Edge and Batu to the park to make it, be prequel timeline or original trilogy.
I mean, who cares
timeline,
what they do in real life, right? I mean, in movies and novels, they could make Batu whatever year they want. If they want to do A, B, Y, or the new one before the Star Killer shit, whatever the fuck, right? Yeah, because they changed the kind of the AD and BC stuff for Star Wars depending on what age you're in now.
Yeah. So it's
who knows? I mean, we're getting some questions here. I mean, would they address the Thrawn thing if they do more Rebels? We've heard from Filoni they're not going to do a direct continuation. They could run with characters, so who knows what that means. So, you could get in cartoons, but it would be pretty neat, unique, mind blowing if they are just like, hey, we're bringing them back, but now they're going to be live action. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Disney Plus allows you to do a lot of those things that wouldn't be possible before.
Would you want
live action?
Now? Let me before we get, because the peanut gallery here, we got a lot of suggestions for actors. I think we'll get into that. But would you want him coming back and just being folded into an existing series like Mando, or would you want him to get his own?
I think if you bring him back and he's the leader of the Imperial Remnant in Mando, like, you still have a fucking ton of questions to answer about that character. Right. Like, to me, you would need to have a specific dedicated, not just episode, you would need a dedicated series that kind of breaks down, like, what the fuck happened?
It's the Boba Fett conundrum in Mando, right? Where you can't just spring them on. I mean, I guess Boba would work slightly better than Thrawn.
Easier.
But it's still, I mean, because of the fan love for Boba, I don't think he's just, hey, it's Boba. Well, how the fuck did he get here? Like you're saying with Thrawn, we do need a more detailed narrative on, like, okay, well, how'd they get out of unknown regions? What happened to Ezra if Ezra's gone? Are they best friends at this point in time? I mean, I know we've talked about that. Think about it. I mean, if they're marooned together and can't go anywhere, do you think they're just going to sit there and stare at each other and hate each other?
Yeah, it's like there's no way. And like I said, the character of Grand Admiral Thrawn, as has been laid out in the novels, is not a character that's going to hold a seething hatred for somebody out of principle. No, he's a
tactician, man, right? He's going to go where the game board takes him, right? Where the pieces favor his moves. So he could easily befriend Ezra. I mean, it'd be great if they came back and Thrawn, he was whipping that long hair again. He ripped the sleeves off of his uniform and he's got his guns hanging out, right? Ezra basically looks like Quinlan Voss, and they have a new language that they bark at each other. Like they've almost devolved into like animalistic versions.
Into like space animals.
And they just come back and they're fucking like a duo, the Batman and Robin of Star Wars.
Yeah. And I mean, like, look, in my opinion, you can't bring back Thrawn into Mandalorian because I don't think Filoni would rightfully do that.
Klondike had a good idea. I mean, you could kind of bring him in Mando like just a splash the last episode, kind of how Moff just showed up at the end.
Yeah.
And then you spin into a full Thrawn series. And 1/6 same thing. It's a mix and match. Let's do an own series, then cross into Mando. So I think the fans at least would they're with us. You can't just throw him in Mando and then take him away. There needs to be some exposition on how the fuck did he get back here?
Yeah. And Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau are not people to say oh, well, most people watching Mando don't know who Thrawn is, so we can just treat him as a new character in this and then we'll worry about how to get him there later. I think the better way to do it, because if you think about it, Thrawn shows up in Mando. The last thing that he remembers from the galaxy, if they're not getting transmissions and they have no idea what's going on, is that the Empire is in good standing. They're
still had the Death Star.
Galaxy.
Yeah, I mean the Death Star is just about ready to start blowing up planets and everything.
Yeah, so he is now coming back into a galaxy where the Empire has been defeated by what was thought to be a lowly band of rebels with no organization whatsoever, and now there is lawlessness and an Imperial remnant in a galaxy that needs some sort of leadership. So it's not like he's just ready to jump in and say I'm here, I'm gonna run shit. Moff Gideon, you listen to me. Let's figure this out. Let's get the Empire back running. He has to wrap his head around what is essentially, 10 years plus of galactic history that's happened, and now the fall of the Empire that he was working for.
It would be a mind fuck for sure. I mean, to show up, because again, I mean, does time pass at the same rate in the unknown regions? I guess it does technically because of Exegol now. We know that, so.
Yeah, it's the same. You're still around the same sun, I guess. It's weird.
To me, the most interesting aspect of bringing Thrawn back is the Ezra connection. It just, you can't separate those two now. I mean, they are, to me, kind of joined at the Star Wars hip, if you will. The way Filoni left them, I feel like they have to come back into the fold together. Maybe not as buddies, right? But we have to see how that was resolved. You don't just take those major characters. I mean, Ezra was one of the leads, if not the lead, the main focus. And then you had Thrawn, who up until that point wasn't recanonized, but it did canonize him again. Plus he had the Legend fan base. He's a massively popular character. So these aren't creations that Filoni and them are just going to leave floating around in space. But I do believe because of how they ended up that their stories have to be reintroduced together, if you will.
In my opinion, the best way to do it is to have a separated series where it is just Thrawn and Ezra.
And I think that one is animated.
Yeah.
And then you bring, if we're doing this live action Thrawn, which we're talking about, then you start sprinkling him into Mando, or if we have any other future Star Wars series, because he probably wouldn't work in Cassian. I mean, I guess he could.
I mean, Cassian would actually be an easier way to bring him in.
Right, because then you don't have to fuck around with any of the Rebels canon.
Yeah, exactly. Depending on how far we go back in Cassian, and we know we're going we're going to be before Episode 4. We're going to be before Rogue One. And if we're before Rogue One, that means that we're in a time period where Thrawn is still an Imperial Grand Admiral on the Chimera, and he's not, kind of out in the unknown regions with Ezra. Yeah. You could literally just have him in there in the timeline that would cover the first 2 seasons of Rebels, because in the first 2 seasons of Rebels, he's not there. He doesn't come in until season 3.
Again, that's why I make the big bucks, because of proclamations like that. But Cassian would be an easy way to just kind of get him introduced in live action form. Yeah,
exactly. And in that time period, and if you do want to have him in both Cassian and Mando, you have a show that covers their time after they've warped out of known space. And what that could allow you to do is very interesting, because if you've read the Thrawn novels, then you know that the Chiss ascendancy functions in what is known as wild space. It's not necessary. It's right on the border between known space, the core worlds, and the Outer Rim. and the unknown regions. So if they are in like this weird boundary, if they kind of made it to the unknown regions, then Thrawn could get in touch with his Chiss Ascendancy contacts, and then they could kind of work together with the Ascendancy to either find their way back to the known galaxy, or you could have a whole series that's based around Thrawn and the Ascendancy, and then what happens to Ezra there? Does he kind of work with the Ascendancy? Does he realize that Thrawn's not really 110% dedicated to the Imperial cause? There's a lot of interesting things that could happen.
I mean, you're always going to get me on the book stuff, but like just my dumb brain, I think I have it figured out now, Nick. Either live action them into Cassian.
Mm-hmm.
If you do it that way, then you got to give us an animated series. It's not going to be Star Wars Rebels Part 2. It could be the Ahsoka and Sabine show, and we truly get to see their quest to find them. They find them, and that's how they're brought back in. And then you could dip those characters back in live action versions into Mandalorian, anything beyond that timeline. So that's the gospel. I've put it to rest right there. I'm going to post it now as if it is fact.
There's a lot of interesting things that could happen with this, because then you could this is something that I brought up before for those of you who read the novels. If the intern was in here, he would be salivating because of all of this fucking good EU novel stuff that I'm dropping. You could bring in the Grisks. The Grisks are the new Yuuzhan Vong, basically, and you could have them in there in cartoon form, because that is the main enemy out in that area of space, in this wild space unknown regions area during that time period, are the Grisks, and they were a big threat to the Chiss Ascendancy. I just wrote you a goddamn animated series.
Pay the
Disney.
Man.
Call me up, get me in here, and then let's make this happen, because that's
Filoni,
some money.
I'll email you his PayPal. Thank you.
Yes, please.
All right, now in terms of who would you want to play a live action Thrawn? So before you start throwing out some names, I'll read a few that the peanut gallery has been throwing up. Tones has thrown up an old one here. Lance Henriksen. I saw Benedict Cumberbatch. Richard E. Grant, who he would have been good, but he's already been Star Wars-ized. Matt Smith, obviously, a lot of people, I've seen that before.
I don't think you necessarily have to skew old for him, because some of these are skewing a little old, because he is a younger character.
I think someone had, what's his name? Mads Mikkelsen.
Mikkelsen. Mads Mikkelsen played. He's
Galen.
Galen Erso. So I don't know.
So
if
he probably can't make it. So I mean, who would be your guy? Like, who do you think would make a great? Oh, 1/6 shooter had John Hamm, and I replied to him that would be a buff ass Thrawn, but I think it would work.
If you remember in the Star Rebels animated series, like you see him with his shirt off.
You're right. I mean, the more I'm thinking about it, I was wrong, Trevor. I'm sorry, because even last week I think I was talking about looking or trying to find the half naked Thrawn shot where he's got his long flowing black hair, and he does. I mean, he's got some blue guns hanging out of those arm sleeves. So
No,
Ham could work for sure. The Matt Smith I could see in the face. Benedict I could see in the face.
Yeah, it's. Oh man, I've never really thought about live action Thrawns, but I don't really have anybody off the top of my head. I think the John Hamm call out is actually really fucking good. The problem is with Hamm is, I mean, can he act like that?
That's okay. That's what I'm thinking about. It's his delivery, it's his body language. I mean, Hamm is he plays serious roles, but he also can play some jokey roles. So Jean-Claude Van Damme.
JCVD.
Someone just threw up a Jean-Claude Van Damme. That'd be fantastic. I would love that. By the way, he did a funny series. I forget if it was on Amazon or Netflix, but if you are a fan of Jean-Claude, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s watching his action movies, his series, and I'm an idiot for forgetting the network. It might be Amazon, but it's pretty good. I mean, he essentially makes fun of himself, but he is also a kind of a spy. while he's still trying to make movies as an aged actor. So
I've seen the previews for it, so that could be interesting. So I'm looking at. So I just typed in like live action Thrawn and Google image search. Pierce Brosnan came up, and that's actually interesting. Like Pierce Brosnan, I think could be an interesting pick here. And then let's see who's this guy here, because I mean, there's also like, you know, real reaches, like, you know, the guy
Hayden
who played
Christensen.
No, yeah, Hayden Christensen could come back. That would be interesting. That would be really fun if they did that. Who's the guy who played the fucking Prometheus robot?
Oh, like damn it! You're right. He would be great.
Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender. He would be good.
Dolph Lundgren.
Dolph Lundgren. I think Fassbender would actually be good because he has given a performance that's very similar.
I remember seeing that on our post because I was going to that to pull it up because we actually got a lot of good reaction there. Again, Matt Smith. The Fassbender was a good one. Lars Mikkelsen, Benedict, Hugh Laurie, Jason Isaac, Tom Hiddleston. That's a good one.
Jason Isaac is a good one. Jason Isaac, I like a lot.
I like Loki too.
Yeah, Loki could do it. Yeah, I mean Tom Hiddleston could be the guy, but he's not like, he has very stark physical features when you look at him. Like he's very thin and muscular in his face.
Jason Isaacs, that's Malfoy's dad, right? And the guy that he played, he was just in Star Trek Discovery, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I could see that too. He was great on that show, by the way, as kind of I don't want to spoil it, even though it's a few years old, but he would play a good Thrawn, I think, based on his Captain Lorik or whoever the fuck he was in Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good options out there. I don't think you have to go I think Lance Henriksen is too old. I know somebody said that. Like he is like, you think of Thrawn as an older character, but he's actually, I mean, he's
probably in his mid 30s, early 40s. I mean,
yeah, like as you would characterize it in human years. I don't know how old he is as a chiss, but like he in human equivalent, he is basically middle-aged, you know.
Yeah, he's in his 40. Prime. I mean, he still works out and does some shit like that.
Yeah,
right?
physical. He is at his physical peak, I would say.
I like him too because he's a collector, right? I mean, Thrawn, he may be someone that would be in our live chat right now.
Yeah, he's a collector of art too, because that's what he uses to break down. Like, if he knows he's going against some sort of like enemy that he's never fought before, or he's looking for information on people, he doesn't like go through hollow records, and he doesn't like, you know, try to infiltrate this person's life. He looks at the type of art that they like, you know, and he can break down their battle style and a lot of their physical characteristics and how they would be in a fight based off of the type of art either they create or that they collect. And that's really interesting when you see how he does that.
Well, yeah, because I remember in the cartoon, because, you know, I'm kind of Thrawn stupid. I mainly know him from Rebels. But I think he was taunting Hera with some shit, you know, like stuff that her people would have made, or the Twi'leks, this, that, and the other thing. I know that he like messed with Sabine too. So I mean, Thrawn, I hope this is real, either full series or just kind of showing up in existing series. He's a great character, so much so because he's different, right? He's not your just yes ma'am, yes sir type of bootlicker Imperial.
Yep.
You can tell he gets a certain level of respect from the Emperor. I mean, he's got the Grand Admiral title.
Being an alien too,
exactly.
Which is unheard of.
There are no other, at least that I know of, alien officers in or any, right? They don't allow aliens. Yep. I mean, the Empire sucks, right? There's a reason the rebellion happened, because they're a bunch of fucking racist, xenophobic asswipes. So
yeah, exactly. So the fact that he is a near human. I mean, the Chiss are a very human-like race, but the fact that he worked his way up the way that he did into the Imperial, superstructure, being an alien and being a non-human.
Andrew just brought this up, and I was going to throw it out there, but Idris Elba for Thrawn.
I think, like, oh man,
He would bring the power, man. You know, Idris.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
brings he commands his characters, if you will. I mean,
but does he have like the? I would love it, but does he have the stoicism? That's the thing.
I think
he
can. Yeah, I think he could do it.
Yeah. I like the only reason that that Fassbender is sticking out in my head is because he's the only person that we've named that has played a character that's even remotely similar to Thrawn's delivery. Like he played that whatever the robot's name was in Prometheus. David.
Well, I mean, you can even draw upon Fassbender's portrayal of Magneto. I mean, there's a little Thrawn persona in that too, like especially where he's leading, commanding, and he's very. He sticks to his ideals, if you will. Yeah, very much so. So, I mean, you've never seen like when we get a Thrawn series, and I'm going to say when because I think that Filoni knows the gold that's buried within this character. Like when we get it, it's going to be a Star Wars series almost unlike anything we've seen before. Because if you do it in the time period where he's still in the unknown regions, like you're dealing with a lot of factors. Like you're used to seeing Star Wars in the known galaxy. You're used to seeing Star Wars where you have this rebellion versus the Empire or the CIS. Yeah, I mean the good guys and bad guys are always black and white in Star Wars. Yeah. Where in the unknown, who to fuck? Like we've been saying, Ezra and Thrawn could be best friends by this point.
Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting ways to bring him in, and I'm excited. Whether it's live action, whether it's animated, I just want more of this character because of the style of show that you get when you're messing
I'm
with
like
him,
just me because I'm book stupid. I want a full on live action series that's essentially Grand Admiral Thrawn. This is your life, and we get more or less what I'd imagine the books have already covered, but now for dummies that only like moving pictures. You know what I mean? Like, I want to get I want to get splashes of his youth, of his time with Anakin, that type of shit. Hey, there we go. We can get Hayden back that way, right? So
yeah, you could do that.
I mean, another one, Christian Bale, and I think we'll move off this topic, but Christian Bale. I mean, Bale at this point can play any role, any size. It doesn't matter. Yeah, he's basically like the what's his name? Daniel Day-Lewis. Exactly. He's like the new Daniel Day-Lewis. But of cool movies that are fun to watch and don't get you depressed. Like, I mean, I'm all about Daniel Day-Lewis and My Left Foot and this, that, and the other thing, but I really don't like watching movies about real life that remind me of how shitty humans can be. Exactly. That's kind of why I think I stick to this fake stuff, the sci-fi, the fantasy. It's just because, I don't know, man. I mean, we get plenty of real life just living it. So I don't need it for my entertainment. The shit bums me out. But Bale, 100%. I fucking love Christian Bale. I love that he's nuts. I love that he's an asshole on set. I love how focused he is. I mean, if you've never heard him dressing down someone on the Terminator Salvation set, the lighting guy, who the fuck are you? I mean, it is like you're walking right in my eye line. It's fucking yelling fantastic. Like a psycho. But and I know we make fun of him. We're like, chill out, dude. You're just acting. But in the end, that's his job. He clearly takes it seriously. Wants to give his best, and he lets people fucking have it that mess with his process. So I was just the shit that guy's done to his body. Let alone, I mean. Dude, if you've ever seen the movie the Mechanic or the Machinist, where he gets down to like 90 pounds because he's locked up. Is it during World War II or? No, it's during or it was like present time. Okay, it's like a dystopian setting basically. Yeah, like he has a mental disorder that he sees himself differently than what he is. And like he like sees himself as like this machismo. From what I can remember, I've only seen it once. Like this really macho guy who's very attractive and gets all these women. But like when you see him in reality, he is this gangly. Like Matt said, he got down to like 90 pounds, and you could just see his ribs. He eats nothing, and he has like some sort of very severe mental trauma that causes it. And then like he goes from that to fucking Batman, where he's buff, swole, like 220 pounds and swole, right? Like it's ridiculous. And then 1/6, I was gonna say this one. Then he plays Dick fucking Cheney in Vice, and gets fat as fuck. Yeah, and then like even going to The Fighter, where again he like loses a ton of weight. Like what? Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do like Bale, and I like him because he's an asshole. So Tom, oh, there we go. Tom Holland is Ezra any day. I love Tom Holland's the fucking man. I love that guy.
Yeah, Tom Holland.
I do like that. I like that. Good one there, Mr.
He's
Shear.
already in the Disney verse too.
That's right.
So.
Well, that's what people were saying when I brought up Loki. They're like, well, I mean, he's already getting paid on that Disney Plus purse, so you know they might not have enough Quan to give him.
Yeah.
All right. So have we beat the Thrawn topic like a dead horse yet?
We did.
All right.
I think we did. So that brings us into our fan segment.
Oh yeah. But before we get into top 5, you know, if you've been joining us these past few weeks, we've added some flair to the fan segment via Nick's Battle of the Ages. I don't know what we're gonna do when the battle ends. I guess we're gonna have to get Nick to start another tournament.
People have been asking for a non-force
Perfect.
user tournament.
We'll roll right into that next. But
now I got to start thinking of 16 people to put into a non-force user tournament.
So let me go ahead and
Thrawn will be in there.
Hide the browser, bring up the Slack, and let's go ahead and get our update on Nick's Battle of the Ages. And people are gonna like this because
oh my God,
those in the chat that have been joining us, so you get angry at some of these votes. Just wait until you see the next 2 matchups. So
yeah, so just an update before we get into the semifinal matchup results. So before we got to the semifinals, we had Grandmaster Yoda versus Luke Skywalker, and that was a pretty hefty win in terms of Yoda, 74% to 26%.
Okay, so this was from last week, right? Because we didn't have this up in time out of respect, but so this was finishing off last week's round. Then the next 2 we're going to look at are the semis, and then we'll announce the championship. Yes.
So Grandmaster Yoda versus Luke Skywalker. That was a Yoda win, pretty big there. No surprise. I'm pulling up our polls now just so I can call out any particular voters either way. Because you know when you vote on the Star Wars Time Show, your votes
love
are
it.
not
I like
secret.
the one Cryo's like, hey man, I thought these are supposed to be anonymous. It's like, well, tough shit. Read the fine print.
So the total vote count was 85 votes for Yoda, 30 for Luke. So that makes sense.
I agree with this. I don't know if I voted on this one. I can't remember. I got lazy in these last rounds.
Yeah, like some notable Luke voters. We have SWTS Wild Wing voted for Luke. Very interesting. Liam Samard photography, Agosto toy photography. So those are our big Luke voters. Very questionable there.
Well, I guess if Luke fought Yoda on his deathbed in Jedi, you know, I think he might have been able to get him because Yoda was pretty fucked at that point.
Yeah. Figure Hertz voted for Yoda. Sith Lord of Lego, our boy Greggy voted for Yoda. Papa Palpatine, also a Yoda voter, and you yourself, Matt Haywood, was a Yoda voter.
Vote that. All right.
So that closes out our next one. So going on, or our last quarterfinal. So going on to the semifinal matchup.
I just ruined the big reveal.
The semifinal matchup. So right now we are on I assume we're on the Revan versus Obi-Wan.
Yes, I got that graphic up now.
These fucking people, like, I don't know what is wrong with our fans. I don't know if you guys are just really big prequel homers or if there's not enough people.
I'm going to blame it on Ewan McGregor at this point. I think people just love Mr. Hello there. I
mean, I get it. I understand. But like, if you people have never played Knights of the Old Republic, if you've never played even Knights of the Old Republic, the MMO game, Star Wars, The Old Republic, read any of the novels, like Old Republic stuff, like, I don't understand how it's 44% for Revan, 56% for Obi-Wan. If it was like 49-51, okay, like I can buy that.
Obi-Wan straight up. Like, this was a decisive victory.
Yeah, so the vote breakdown: 58 for Revan, 73.
Hopefully, I picked Obi-Wan.
Notable Obi-Wan voters. Let's do that first. Matt Jessup. So that's
he's a Funko Pop guy.
Yeah. Stormtrooper Pete, which is one of Greggy Boy's friends and who may be featured on top 5.
No, that's a different Stormtrooper. Stormtrooper Pete is not the one that's been blowing shit up with Greg down in Queensland.
Okay, that's a different. But Stormtrooper Pete has been a top 5.
Oh yeah, well he's been putting out some fantastic smartphone shots these days, believe it or not. So
you did not vote for what I can see. Klondike, Greg, Kingdom of Weird, These guys, what are you doing?
They're all in here.
Obi?
Kingdom of Weird's in here. Klondike's in here. Speak for yourselves.
Tell me the rationale here. I don't get it.
Are you trolling us? Are you guys trolling the Battle of the Ages, or you truly feel Obi-Wan could take down DR? I don't know. I mean, you never know. In the end, it's all fake, and people have their favorites. But I mean, Mr. Hello there really is tearing through this tournament. I mean, who's he beating now at this point?
Okay, let me, because I actually
recap who Kenobi has messed up.
Yeah, so this is the Kenobi run through. So at first, Kenobi beats Rey. That was his round
there you go.
one.
Literally beats part of the dyad.
Yeah. Then he beats Anakin again, which is the rematch. Anakin was our number 1 seed. So just to put it out there, Obi-Wan starts off as an 8 seed. He beats the 9 seed in Rey. Then he beats the 1 seed in Anakin. Then he beats the 4 seed in Revan.
He really is our Cinderella man. I mean,
he kind of is. And then, oh man, so that's the big kick right there, is that you get Obi-Wan Kenobi beating Darth Revan.
So much for all of Revan's powers and abilities. He could not take down the 2-finger pointer, right, Mr. Peace?
Yeah, that's all it takes. And then that brings us on to our last semifinal matchup to decide the final matchup that it will be played out this week. And it was Grandmaster Yoda versus Darth Vader.
Right, not Hobo Yoda, not the weirdo that steals little meat sticks.
No. I put it, Grandmaster Yoda. This is number 3 seed. This was the highest seed left in the tournament. Number 3 seed, Grandmaster Yoda versus number 7, Darth Vader.
I love it.
And Darth Vader takes it 53% to 47. And the vote total 65 to 58. And I just don't understand. Like, Matt, what is your opinion on this battle? Because for me, Grandmaster Yoda beats Darth Vader, whether it be the Darth Vader that fought Obi-Wan Kenobi at the end of episode 3, so before he gets his suit, or the Darth Vader that fights him, that has his suit and that fights Obi-Wan Kenobi in episode 4. So what is your perception of this battle?
Yeah, I mean, this one, and hopefully I didn't vote so I don't sound like an asswipe, but I just, you probably do have to go with Yoda.
He's just too good. Like,
he'd be too quick for either version of Vader if they just want to do physical combat. Really, Vader's force powers would be equaled, if not overmatched, especially if it's robot Vader.
Yeah.
I mean, Yoda could just come in there like one of my moves, because I'm a short guy. It's just the ankle bite, right? I just come in there and you just come in there and start like chewing on Vader's ankle, and it's over. Just cut his metal legs off. So.
Papa Palpatine, notable Vader voter.
Well, Papa loves Vader. I mean, that's why. I mean, Vader's. I'm a big Vader homer too, so it's hard for me to go with Yoda. But if I'm approaching it just from a logical standpoint, Yoda probably wins. My fandom, I'd give it to the Iron Lung. Vader. Yeah.
So Baron's Black Series, Cryophotography, Papa Palpatine, all notable Vader voters here. And then in terms of the Yoda voters, you had a lot of smart, intelligent people like Tones voting for Yoda.
Oh, look at Nick's starting to channel some of the dark side. Look at this.
Klondike, Agasto. I mean, you got some notable voters in there too. Rust Belt Collector voted for Yoda. Sean Forney voted for Yoda. To me, I think this is the no-brainer. To me, I was like, Yoda takes this hands down, because like you said, if you take, like I said this on the podcast, I say it every week. You take in my opinion, you take the strongest version of that particular character. So what that does is, if we're only talking about Darth Vader, that negates all of Anakin Skywalker. So you can only take from the moment he becomes Darth Vader in the Senate chamber, or not in the Senate chamber, in Palpatine's chambers, right after he kills.
Yeah, and I'm with you, because let's kind of hash that out. Like, we're talking human form Vader, right?
Vader, yes.
I would argue that Anakin, just like, we got this from Kylo when he killed his dad. You could argue at that point in time, Anakin was so mind fucked over the choice he made, right? What have I done? And then he buried that and just went and murdered a bunch of babies. But you could make the argument that even that Anakin would have been there would be so much turmoil, inner turmoil, that it would be impossible for him to fully channel all of his powers, which, quite frankly, is what happened on Mustafar. I mean, Kenobi beat the guy because he wasn't fucking thinking straight. He was erratic. He was tapping way too much into the dark side, the hate. He wasn't thinking. I mean, Anakin should have wiped the lava with him. But because Anakin, well, at that time, Anakin Vader, if you will, he was a mess. I mean, he thought his wife had just betrayed him. He choked her ass out. I mean, he was all fucked up in the head. So, I even think that version of Vader would have lost to GMY.
Yeah. So
GMY is an idiot. Like, let's not sweep that under the rug.
He definitely didn't have the foresight.
No, he's a fucking fool.
Needed.
I mean, he
is
let
an excellent combatant,
and he let the order just essentially crumble right from under him. I mean, he was a dummy. But when he is in the moment, he's in the fucking moment. Like, that guy has no emotional attachments to anything at all.
Yeah.
I mean, Palpatine had all sorts of emotional attachments. That's what Sith are. They are emotions. But Yoda, I mean, he was always in the moment, always focused. So I think that's what would have given him the edge over any Vader, really.
Yeah. So now the reveal of our final matchup, it should be obvious here. You have Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader.
And we're bringing it back to the Death Star, my friends. A New Hope, Episode 4, the rematch.
I mean, this is... Now, keep in mind, this is not old Obi-Wan versus Vader.
Right,
this is not Episode 4. This is the strongest version of each character. So you have Obi-Wan Kenobi probably in Episode 3.
Yeah, I would say Rots Kenobi before he murders his friend, or thinks he murders his friend, is probably the strongest that Kenobi got. Although you could argue the old Kenobi. Maybe not physical strength, but he was probably a better all-around combatant because he also now had the mental clarity. I mean, look what he did to Maul in Rebels.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a contest because Maul was trying to use his old tactics where Kenobi learned from all of his mistakes, channeled all of his former masters, and just literally did a zip, see you later. But no, I'm with you. I'd probably take the Rots Kenobi as his rawest power.
Yeah.
Physically, at least. Mentally, probably not, especially after all the Anakin shit and the dead babies.
Yeah. And then, the strongest version of Vader, which there's a lot of argument to be had, like, which is the strongest version of Vader? Like, did Obi-Wan already fight the strongest version of Vader at the end of Rots?
See, I don't. It's weird, man, because Vader's so unique because, well, I was talking about Vader, right? For some reason, I thought I was talking about
Vader.
Obi-Wan. He essentially is two different people, right? So Obi-Wan was lying, but he wasn't. If you had Vader in Anakin form, and he was able to actually train in that form in the dark side from Sidious, he would have been a fucking monster, like untouchable, like could take down planets type of shit.
Yeah, but that he doesn't exist.
Right. We never get that form of Vader because, as I just explained, I think the initial Anakin Vader is so fucked up in the head, he's just by default not going to be at his best. Then you get busted ass, junkyard
Robot
Vader, which literally is canonized that he lost most of his potential. I mean, that is one of the main reasons Palpatine sent or tried to create replacement after replacement after replacement, test after test after test for Vader right after Episode 3, because he's like, fuck, I've got damaged goods now. So I'm going to improve my damaged goods by making him angrier than ever, more hateful than ever, but he is never going to be the guy that I thought I was getting when I signed up to convert the Chosen One to the dark side.
Exactly. So that's your final matchup, guys. Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader. It will be live in our stories sometime this week. I will have the post up.
A few things from the fan before we move on to the question, but 1/6 shooter, Obi-Wan easy. He'd wear Vader down. George Lucas would agree with Kenobi being on top of this list. That comes from Andrew. And then Tones asking, could Vader not just force choke Obi out? Well, I mean, they forced they did the old force patty cake in Revenge of the Sith. So I mean, he could definitely deflect a force choke if need be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if George would agree if there's just a straight battle with no story implications on it. So like I said, if you're taking the strongest version of each character as, you know, and then putting them together, it's hard to say that Obi-Wan's the strongest one. It really is. And like, you know, you have a lot of characters in there. Like you have, you know, Grandmaster Yoda. To me, I feel like they literally just went at each other, and I feel like, you know, if it was Obi versus Yoda, I feel like Yoda wins that. It's weird. It is weird. I mean, it's a bracket challenge, so you have to go by the matchups that are put forth. But it is odd how it's played out.
My take on the most powerful version of Robot Vader would probably be around the New Hope Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, it would be like Force Unleashed, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like
Force
Unleashed. By that time,
he's
ran through a lot of the Inquisitors, trained them, killed them. He's gone on multiple missions to make himself hate himself more. He's been hanging out on Mustafar in the castle, sitting in his little tube, getting pissed. So I think he's probably his most powerful form as the robot in Empire. I mean, just look what he did to his son. And really, again, because he let emotion slowly creep back in, that's how he kind of softened up again. So good stuff there, man. Battle of the Ages, good update. We will have
laying out
the final results battle next week, but I can pretty much just take to the bank. Kenobi is going to win this bitch.
Yeah, it looks like Kenobi. It looks like nobody can stop Kenobi, not even Darth Revan. So the other question of the week we put out is actually a precursor to something that's going to be coming soon in Exclu magazine.
Papa P, he agrees with me sort of. Skywalker was between worlds in episode 3. That's more or less what I was saying, just probably like a psychologist perspective. He was fucked. Snoke would have said the same thing to Anakin right there. He's like, you know, you're fucking broken too because of what you did, you dummy. You know, you're not really as evil as you think. So good stuff there. All right, we're going to move on to, we have a kind of a different approach to the question of the week this week, right, Nick? We're working on some things. So like last week during the mention segment, we revealed that we did a piece for Exclu magazine. I wrote an article on the 40th anniversary of ESB and kind of collecting those figures and being a 40-year-old fan and that type of shit. Well, Jack has reached out again and has asked if we'd like to be involved in issue 2. He's already kind of putting together some features, and we agreed. And our topic that we thought would work out, would be nice to pursue, is the new Black Series box art. So those of you that pay attention to the SWTS, we love you. Rock and roll. Nick has already put out a poll and the question to kind of gain some feedback. So we're kind of using that twofold this week. We turned it into our question of the week because we got some good responses, and really most people that listen to this show, they collect the toys. So I think it does merit a little segment. And number 2, we're going to use some of your responses in our feature in Exclu magazine.
Yes.
All right. So we'll probably have to contact you if it goes into print, because that's Jack's stuff and he pays attention to the law and shit, where we just, if you write something on our social media, we're going to read it out loud whether you like it or not.
If you vote, I'm loud capping your votes. We're putting your names up on the screen.
Yeah, so if you ever don't want us to say something, you better send us a DM. But we are going to include some of your responses in the article. I'm going to kind of write a part of it, just my take on it being the collector half of the show, and then Nick's going to handle kind of a segment or part of the article where he's going to be like, hey, you know, this is my take as a non-collector, but this is what we got from the Star Wars Time Show fan base. So I thought that was kind of a neat thing to, you know, include us back into the magazine, but our little growing community here. So we're here for you people. We love you. Yeah. Love us back. All right, man.
So if you want to get your opinion out there too, the post is still on the Instagram.
Yeah.
Scroll down a little bit.
Yeah, leave your comments on the post. You have to scroll through it for a little bit, but we had like 20 plus, almost 30 comments. So good on you. you, again, my friends, you are enabling this new fan segment to grow and get more interactive and potentially hear your silly names announced out loud.
Yeah.
All right, so like I said, that is our question of the week. As Nick put out there, we are looking for some direct feedback on the new Black Series boxes. So just to recap everyone, or if you're just on the audio version, Hasbro decided to completely change the Star Wars Black Series box. They're no longer black and red with numbers on it and Gregory Titus art. They now have a kind of a color-coded system mural on the side. They're much more artistic, eye-pleasing, if you will. So here's some of the comments we got back. And again, some of these may appear in the article, but I just picked 10 good ones that I thought kind of spoke to how fans are thinking about this change. So up first from Kiko Collects, likes the boxes, thinks it's because of the mural. I think it'd be neat to tease a part of the next character. You can see parts of the other on each box. Could get people excited. That's why I picked that one. I like that, where he's saying, all right, we show a figure with its mural, but then we only get like half of the next mural to kind of guess where that line's going. So
yeah, no, that's a really good, thought process behind those boxes. I like that one. Next up, we have Rust Belt Collector. He says, change is nice. It would have been cool if the red and black box set had ended at 100.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that.
And then he goes on to say something that you mentioned last week. He says, these boxes remind me of Marvel Legends line, but are unique enough that they don't blend together. I'm all for boxes that are themselves pieces of art. Displaying these will be quite awesome. That's kind of like my thought on it as well, was that the display portion of it would be really cool. If you are to keep boxes, I know, Matt, you aren't a box collector anymore.
I do want to put some PSAs out there for my fellow collectors. And one day, if you really want to see what I got, I will take you around the tour so you can see that I'm not full of shit. And there's a reason, even considering keeping boxes like this, it can't happen anymore. It can't. How many fucking plastic rubber totes can one person buy to store cardboard boxes? It literally takes up my whole fucking attic. It's insane. All right, so that's one of the reasons I quit. But I need to, people, free your figures. Displaying them in boxes isn't as cool as taking them out and putting them on a shelf. Boxes take up room. Room is valuable. If you meet someone, if you get married, you're going to have to share room, okay? Unless you are rich and have sheds or storage containers or barns to store your shit. I'm telling you right now, if you have the sickness, and anytime they announce new figures, you buy the full wave, or you buy doubles of the wave, or triples of the wave, or quadruples of the wave. I'm talking to you Stormtrooper army builders. You can't keep all the fucking boxes. It's just, it's nuts. It's nuts. We buy them for the figure, not the fucking art. The art looks great. It would look even better in the recycling bin.
Even small boxes become cumbersome. Like even like video game boxes that are like that big.
Yes.
Like you don't realize until you do have like limited space. Like, man, if I just had a binder where I could flip through all these, or if they were all digital, then it would save up a bunch of space. But yeah, so I mean, like overwhelmingly positive responses to this. Oh yeah, so far.
But there's a lot of themes of, oh, I love it, I can display more boxes. It's just like, oh, come on, people. I'm telling you right now, the shit just adds up. I don't know how old you are, but if you start hitting into the 40s and the 50s, the 60s, I mean, I've had to take some of my father's stuff down here and store because he ran out of room keeping boxes. All right.
So next up, we got Galactic Photography 66. It says, going to greatly miss the art style present on the red and black boxes, but the connecting mural on the side and color coding depending on which movie or show the characters from is a nice addition. So it's like leaning on these murals, like the murals that they're putting together.
And I agree. The art is fantastic, but it's not so great that I'm going to eat up this much. I'm kind of putting it up on the camera, but we're talking, an inch and a half, 2 inches almost of thickness. You get a couple of those. There's a shelf. There's a next shelf. Oh, now you got to buy another shelf, put it next to that shelf, and before you know it, you have no wall left. As Nick said, I mean, get away from collecting Blu-ray boxes and steel books and shit. It just is going to take up too much space. And this guy just got a new house, and he probably can't have a bunch of fucking boxes around. So
I mean,
Tones is like 51 and still have all mine displayed in boxes.
There we
More
go.
power to you, Tones. I'm telling you. I mean, maybe it's a me thing. Maybe I spend way too much money. But I'm gonna have maybe after this cast, I'm gonna bust out a real shitty smartphone video and show you how some of mine are displayed in the glass cases and where the rest are, because A, I'm lazy and haven't set up my glass cases yet, and B, I have way too much shit for boxes. So
Matt will show you the in progress SWT museum in the Ohio HQ. So that'll be fun. Yeah.
So there's some people, and I will qualify my statement on boxes. Yes, if I'm spending over $100 on a toy, I'm going to keep the box. Okay. So the 1/6ers, the Mezcos, even some of the figure arts, I maintain those boxes mostly for a resale. All right. The other stuff, fuck it. I'm telling you right now, people, only Star Wars collectors are going to pay you money for your figures. So if you're holding on to all this shit thinking you're going to get rich one day like it's gold, you better hope there's another nutjob Star Wars fan out there like you, because those are the only people that pay those prices.
Highly unlikely is the best way to put it, but yes. So just kind of going through more comments. Mark Walker photo, very Marvel Legends as a toy photographer. Mine comes straight out of the box, and the box goes into the loft.
And he's not right. I mean, I don't want to sit here like I'm some motherfucking, I'm too good for boxes. I was all of you. I literally have, I'm not kidding, 50 large, like 32-gallon plus Tupperware containers full of Funko Pop boxes that take up my entire attic. There's no attic space to store boxes of boxes. And when I was starting to spend money on boxes to store boxes, that's when I was like, what the fuck is your problem?
I got to stop. This is the stopping point.
You know what I mean? So there we go.
But he agrees on the color scheme for the different movies and eras.
Right.
But he says he can imagine that the shape causing issues for in-the-box collectors and displayers. Interesting.
All right, this next one here from Scion, I like this idea, and I can get behind this. He loves them. Ever since he was a kid, he's always appreciated package art. He used to save all his boxes and card backs from all his toys. And he's saying now he's probably not going to save these, but he's going to cut the sides of the boxes off and frame it like a giant mural. Now that makes sense. Because he's actually going to create a nice piece of wall art using the beautiful art from these boxes. So I thought Scion had probably the best idea how to kind of scratch your box itch, if you will, while also freeing your figures. So kudos to that idea. I thought that was a novel idea. I may steal it, although I don't have much wall space back here. I know you people can't see much of the HQ from the camera angle I give you, but anywhere there's wall, there is a Star Wars poster of some kind. Only Star Wars posters too.
Eventually, I will have some posters hanging up here. I know that you get a limit. Basically, the only thing you can see behind me is the TV.
Well, I'll try to duck or move my chair. Like, see all that shit back there? Those on the live stream? Like, that's everywhere. There is no wall space left. And it's so bad, I have my glass toy shelves in front of my walls full of Star Wars posters. So
nice.
I'm about as 10-year-old as it gets for 40. Bud Futu, I was glad to see him kind of chime in. He is like the Dio god out there. Love them. Although I'm an opener, I still keep my boxes and boxes. See, he was like me. He was doing the boxes and boxes, and that to me is like, that's almost OCD. All right, I get if you want to keep them in boxes and look at the numbers of the murals, but when we're literally buying boxes to store empty boxes, that's when you gotta like ask yourself, could I just spend more money on toys? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's probably the better.
Hey, Mr. Forney, I would love some original Star Wars art. I actually have your original Hulk still that you made for me sitting up in the basement. So I did lie. I do have a few Marvel pieces down here.
There we go.
And a Nintendo piece, and that famous Super Mario Brothers little kid playing video games art that everyone's probably seen at some point in time.
Awesome.
Have you seen that? It's like it's kind of like purple. And it's a little kid. He's got like his Star Wars toys up there, and he's playing the original Super Mario Brothers on his Nintendo.
I can't remember it specifically, but I'm sure if I see
it's a great example to be talking about on a podcast when you can't see shit. So that's why I decided to bring it up. All right, moving on. We got a couple more. Stormtrooper Pete. There you go.
Yeah, look great. I love the color and the way they blend, but sad that they removed the Gregory Titus art.
We had a lot of that, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm never a fan of an artist losing potential work, but this might not be a popular opinion. I didn't find the box art of the black and red Black Series boxes to be appealing whatsoever.
Oh,
I didn't. I really did. I mean, it was. He does like grayscale art. I mean, it looks fantastic. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he sucks. It was drab, gray, kind of a sketch, whatever. I mean, the red and black Series boxes to me were almost jankier than the originals, where they were all black with a blue stripe or an orange stripe. All right, start throwing the tomatoes, people. I know it's coming because there's a lot of Gregory Titus fans here.
There we go. The hate. Here comes the Matt Haywood haters coming out. Switpick says, I'm excited for something new and fresh. The old boxes were getting stale.
He seems angry like me, so I like that.
Yeah. So, Switpick's with the hate on the old boxes.
I like it. I like it.
Them.
He has
you
some
can
conviction
see it in this
there.
Comment. Yeah. So, Visual Force, really bummed that they're no longer using Gregory Titus's artwork, but I'm loving the more colorful boxes and the mural look. I'm a box collector, so this makes
I told
me
you,
happy.
Nick.
So
Like Nick,
box collector.
I wish we could get Nick to fully understand the box sickness. It's hard to relate to a non-collector.
You know what's funny is, like, I'm not a collector of anything, but I'm a box hoarder just of shit that I buy. So, like,
I do that too. Like electronics, I'll hold on to them thinking that I need it to return it 10 years later. Like they're actually going to take it back.
Like, I have like video card boxes. I have keyboard boxes. I have the box for this microphone still. Like, when we were moving from the apartment to the house,
I bet Taylor loved all that shit. Was she like, just throw this shit out, you asshole?
Exactly. She was like, why do you have this? I was like, and like literally I would freeze and it'd be like,
there's no good. I know why I keep my tech boxes. There's always this like, well, it might blow up within the 40-day period, so I need my box. But then I forget about it, and then it sits there for 5 years. I actually just exercised my box storage area, Nick, when we adopted the 2 cats to make room for a new shit palace.
There we go.
I'm telling you, dude, I was digging shit out. Like you said, my mic box was in there. My iMac box was in there from 2 or 3 years ago. It's like, what are you doing? And I regained so much room, it was ridiculous. It was like, holy shit.
When you finally make the purge, like, you feel good. You're like, holy crap! Now I can actually put more boxes in here now.
I'm telling you, people, to say it with me, we will not collect our boxes. Our boxes are a waste of space. Just keep repeating it. All right, I think we got one more here.
Yeah. This is Ramadai or Ramadis Jedi, or Ramdai. Really great, nice artwork. I love the different colors for the different episodes. The back is even better than the side. I bought 2 Luke Snowspeeder 40th ESB anniversary, and I'm struggling not to buy this one, but the box is so great. And this is
I can relate with that story right there, because he should be showing up today. So what he's talking about, Nick, is the condom head Luke, like the Hoth pilot Luke, is releasing in the ESB 40th anniversary card back packaging, which should be on my doorstep today, which means I'm going to open him and then lay him on my toy graveyard table and never shoot him. But kind of like Ramdai was sitting here, he's like, all right, I've already bought that one, and now I feel like I need to buy this one because he's in a different box. Well, that's exactly what I did. So I completely understand it. And I'm the guy sitting here fucking talking shit about boxes. So what does that fucking say? At this point, though, I'm probably going to leave the one Luke in the card back because it looks like an old toy from when I was a little kid. But then I'm just being a big fucking hypocrite, but that's kind of how we are, right? I'm yelling at people not to keep figures in boxes, and I'm just said I'm probably going to keep a figure in a box.
Literally going to do it himself. So
no way, I'm going to rip that shit open today if it's on my porch. Fuck it. All right, well, that was good. That turned out better than I thought. I don't know why that was so fun to me. I think I just like commiserating with other collectors and how fucked up all of us are. And I'm guessing it like me, it was probably laid upon us from either our fathers or mother. Whoever got us into collecting, they're the ones that probably back then ingrained into us, hey, if I would have had all my comics when I was young, we'd be millionaires, you know,
Yeah,
or
we'd
all my
be
baseball
rich now.
cards. So that's why I was conditioned that way, and I eventually got over it. But good stuff. So let me go ahead and change gears on the graphic here because we all know what time it is. It is time for the top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. And is this one of my weeks where I have to make fun of myself?
There is a Haywood Pop Shot breakdown this week. There we go.
So we'll see what Nick picked here, but I'll turn it over to the curator of the top 5.
Yes, this is the sacred segment of the week. Every week, it's the top 5. There is no influencing. There is no buying your way into the top 5. I've told Greg this many times, but the top 5 is a very holy and sacred ground for the Star Wars Time Show. So this
here
week
to give us the top 5. Yes, I grew up Catholic. If you can tell.
Yep, me too. I went to Catholic school
brainwashed like a motherfucker. I got so many hymns in my head.
I know, it's like some of them are starting to finally filter out because I haven't been to church in so long.
Me too. Me too, man. It's like, I used to remember them all. I half the time my mom made me go. I didn't even know what the fuck was going on, but they'd be like, "May the peace be with you, and also with you."
Exactly. That's how you know you're Catholic, is when you watch Star Wars and they say, "May the Force be with you." And just in your head, you're just like, "And also with you."
No, but you got to sing it too. All right, man, go ahead. Let's get at it.
All right. So number 1 up on this week's top 5 is a brand new person in the top 5. This is Toy Box Photography with a very, very good recreation from episode 5. The scene where you finally get the reveal of the Emperor's face. In episode 4, you had no idea who the Emperor was. And in episode 5, you see this reveal. And in the original cut of Empire Strikes Back, you get Monkey Man.
Yes,
you get the Monkey Man.
It was like some random
Emperor.
Dude's face with monkey eyes superimposed. Yeah, it was like, we're not saying he had monkey eyes. Literally, they used monkey eyes.
Yeah, and then now, you know, with the recuts and the special editions, you actually do get Ian McDermott.
Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he changed that until the Blu-rays. Like, I don't think that didn't even make the special editions in the mid-90s.
I don't think it did either, because you didn't have Ian. I mean, like, you may have gotten like episode 6 Palpatine. I can't remember because it's been so long since I watched like the 96 special edition cut now. But you definitely
I just
don't
remember,
have the same one.
Because to me the special editions, it was like, it was amazing. I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was going to get to see Star Wars in the theater. I only got to see Jedi and I was 3. So, you know, what the fuck was that really? So I was jazzed to go back. And then obviously, you know, you get some of the changes. I still think the changes to Jedi are the worst. I fucking hate what they did in Jabba's palace with the fucking song change and all that bullshit.
The Max Rebo thing.
Oh my God.
So weird.
It's like, what the fuck, George? Like, why did we need that?
Yeah, it's like, that wasn't necessary.
It takes like a great dark scene, like this, there's mystery going on, and it like jams a fucking Chuck E. Cheese session into it. But I always remember, back to that, the original special editions, I remember, like, I felt like they did nothing to Empire. Like,
there was
he almost made no changes to
any.
Empire.
I think the only thing that may have been changed, well, no, because that wasn't even until the Blu-ray either, is like you get the different look at Cloud City, like the more CGI version to Cloud City. So but
they're saying it was an old woman played Palpatine in the first cut.
Okay,
so
that would make, I mean, like, I guess that could make sense if you just like put a bunch of weird makeup on an older lady. But it was, like, it wasn't even Ian's voice. Like, it was somebody
Ian
else's
didn't even,
voice.
like, I don't even think that they knew Ian was going to be playing the role until Jedi.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a way, you know, like, he was only cast at that point. But what we see here from Toy Box Photography is a scene recreation of the updated version from the Blu-rays, where you actually do have the proper Ian McDermott there in Palpatine form, talking to Vader. Son of Skywalker must not become a Jedi. That line, that famous line from Empire. It is almost a perfect recreation of it. In fact, that's what makes this one stand out so much.
What I like is it gives us a different perspective than the movie, because I think the movie,
you get the side
you get mostly
view.
a side view for a good chunk of it, and then I do think you might get a face on, but I believe it's just the Emperor's face. So I like that we kind of get to see Vader's helmet there. It's cool. And Toy Box Photography, I don't know if they're new or they just found our tag, because I already have another shot of theirs in the folder to be featured. So be on the lookout. It
looks like he's new. 186 followers only, 59 posts. So make sure to go follow this. This is definitely a fresh, new looking account. And already a top 5 here. So Matt, I have one question for you and for the photographers in the chat. The background here, is this a Dio?
That looks like a Digirama to me.
A Digirama? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was my question for this. So at Toy Box Photography on Instagram, go give him a follow. A new account, well worth the follow.
Greggy boy woke up.
There we go. Greg's in just in time
for his.
5.
Yeah, he doesn't like the other Star Wars shit. I mean, he's a Marvel guy, anyways. He's just here for the top 5 because one of his buddies made it.
Oh yes, his bud made it. He's coming up a little bit later in the top 5 segments. So moving on to the next one here, it's Mark Walker photo. So we already talked about Mark a little bit in our fan segment, but he has a fantastic, just beautiful Finn with lightsaber. This is TFA Finn.
I'm regretting this is a Hot Toys Finn Nixus, the 1/6 scale. I'm regretting not getting a lot of the 1/6 scale TFA figures at this point, because I think they got one of the best rays. I believe it has the Island Journey ray, it has Scav ray, and then you get, obviously FN 2187.
Yeah, 2187. I mean, like this figure, this just looks like John Boyega. And it's nuts how detailed this figure is. It's the giving him the Skywalker family blade, like was teased in the trailers and everything leading up to TFA, kind of putting him behind this Star Destroyer like background. I mean, and then the comment that you put on it, real life resistance leader at John Boyega. It's good stuff here. It's just a very clean, beautiful picture here by Mark Walker photo.
Yeah, I mean, I love the figure. I love the picture. I mean, obviously it was put up during a time when Boyega is really out there fighting the good fight for everybody. I don't know if anyone has seen what Boyega has done with all the BLM stuff, but he has been a pimp. So much so that he's like, you know what? I don't give a fuck if I ever work in Hollywood again. I feel the need to get out and do this now. I was actually surprised you didn't choose the Jason B. Michael.
I saw that one too.
Homage to what John's been up to. I guess I'll pull this up real quick now since we're talking about it. But
yeah, that was a close one.
This is a damn great toy photography shot here that I'm pulling up from Jason B. Michael. He essentially just organized a bunch of his action figures from Marvel, Star Wars, got Boyega dressed up in a hoodie with gloves like he was in real life, and it's just a fantastic shot. I mean, I'm not going to go into all the social stuff. I mean, you know our stance. I kind of laid that out last week at the opening of the show. So we support all this, support what Jason's doing, what Mark's doing. But Jason's shot here, this is art. This is toy photography art. There's no other way to describe it. So I just wanted to bring that up since we were talking about Mark's Boyega shot. But yeah, I mean, great figure that Mark shot, and just a good portrait type of shot. So thank you, Mark, for participating with the tag and getting a mention because of your response to our question of the week.
There we go. 2-timer on the show. So next up on the top 5 is one from Lego Star Wars Tong, which is a account we feature a ton. This guy is an absolute magician when it comes to Lego photography, at Lego_Star Wars_Tong. And what we see here is a really cool kind of like, it's almost, I'm looking at it and it looks like these are Imperial Super Commando, like little Star Wars Lego figures, and in the background you see like proper snowtrooper and stormtrooper helmets on pikes So I don't know if this is like Imperial Super Commandos, like rebelling.
The guy
against
looking
their
at us,
masters.
Nick, that is a Mandalorian. But I think it is, as you're saying, the Mandalorians that joined the Empire, like Gar Saxon, those types.
Exactly. Yeah, the Super Commandos.
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know if they're turning on the Imperial overlords or what, but I always like looking at Lego shots that depict death and murder and violence, because Legos just, I don't know. I mean, they're fucking Legos, right? They just don't scream murder. Exactly. So I think that's why I love Lego shots that depict death and destruction, and that's what our buddy Lego Star Wars Tong is doing. I mean, he's the one that usually has those mind-blowing sunset shots where the sky turns all shades of fucking pink, purple, and orange. So I don't know if he's shooting inside or what, but I just initially the trooper heads on pikes, I mean, that just gets me, and then that Mando looking at you like, what? You're next, motherfucker. Like, don't fuck with us.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, so.
I mean, the background and the snow particulation, I mean, everything about this shot's actually just really well set up by Lego Star Wars Tong. I mean, I don't know if this background is something that like he photoshopped in, or he had like a physical.
I think a lot of it, Nick, looks practical set up. I mean, a little mountain here almost looks like a prop from a Black Series figure. But I'm going with most of this is probably practical.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and it is. It's just like he's got some atmospheric canned air, atmosphere aerosol in his behind the scenes photo, and it's like a practical mountain setup there, and it's it's beautiful.
One of these days, I'm going to try to shoot some of my minifigs, because as I've said, I have come into possession of a lot of them thanks to my little daughter, the lockdown, buying Death Stars and other $300-400 Lego sets. All they are now is pretty much shit for the new cats to fuck up. So I need to do something. I need to get them out of the main part of the house, or I'm going to kill the cats.
All right.
Here he is.
Don't kill him, but
Mr. Top 5 himself coming up.
Yeah, Mr. Top 5. It's hard not to put Papa in the top 5 when shit like this comes out so often. Like, I know. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do?
Oh my God.
So what we see here is Papa Palpatine photography. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he was in here earlier. We see Boba Fett riding on the back of a xenomorph through what looks, I'm just going to say through Dagobah, and he's just fucking firing off the back of the xenomorph. We all know what
it is in real life. This is Papa's pit, right? I mean, we've all seen it.
Backyard pit.
Papa literally has this toy shooting pit in his backyard where he's got this awesome gnarly tree stump still. He's dug out trenches and shit, and you can see his all the lights he sets up. But again, it's the imagination, right? Mm-hmm. And something I definitely struggle with. Papa does not. The guy's always thinking of cool looking shots. He's always thinking of how he can mash shit together. And I mean, again, he is an account that I sometimes have to slap my hand over, like, okay, you just featured him yesterday, don't feature him again today, wait at least another 24 hours. Because I have another shot that he released last week that I'm still planning on putting out. It's of a Mythos Leia he created. It's just, I mean, the guy The guy's always thinking of interesting things to shoot, and then he can execute it, obviously, with, masterful posing, effects, almost always practical effects. But yeah, I mean, Boba Fett on the back of a xenomorph just seems natural.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's just like one of the creatures that he encountered and then dominated on his, his bounty hunting trails. So,
just look how happy he looks riding on. Like, even Xenos are typically just fucking angry beings. Even the Xeno looks happy to be carrying Boba Fett on his back.
Oh yeah, he gets to work alongside another creature of death and destruction. So he's happy about that. But I mean, it's just the imagination, just the setup that he has is so fucking awesome. He always pumps in that atmospheric effects to make it look
he's a fog machine. Like this dude, I'm pretty sure he's got a legit fog maker and just blows it out. I don't think he fucks around with the canned air salt nonsense. And
so
I like the canned stuff because you can be a lazy asshole with it.
Yeah, just spray it.
Yeah, you just kill the environment, kill your lungs. Fuck it. When I use that shit down my basement, I'm telling you, it's going to give me a tumor.
Yeah, you're probably gonna have
It's
some
like,
sort
oh
of
yeah,
lung
use it in a
problems.
well-ventilated space. I'm in a fucking basement with an escape hatch. That's it. It's like I'm sitting in here, and after a few hours, my kidneys start to hurt from processing all the poison. But hey, all in the name of toy photography for IG to fucking bury my shots.
Indeed.
But no,
So
this is
at
fantastic
Papa
stuff, Papa. Way to go, buddy.
Yeah.
You never disappoint.
Although P, Papa _ photography.
He's lucky there's no blind Han Solo in this shot, or Boba would be fucked.
Boba, yeah, he would be dead.
He'd be fucked.
That would be it. The xenomorph would be fucking eating dead Boba Fett.
No, they would, because Boba's so tightly on the Xeno. Once Han hit his jetpack, they'd both just lift out together and hit a sail barge somewhere, and then fall into a pit.
Yeah, the Sarlacc would have a bigger meal than it did.
Yeah, so, great stuff, man. Always love what the Papa's got coming out of his head.
And then this was the tease from earlier that I'm mistaken tease. It's not Stormtrooper Pete. It's Stormtrooper Storyteller,
right.
Stormtrooper _ Storyteller. With the first top 5 here, and this is I think this was a combo between Greggy Boy, our good friend Greg Bird, and Stormtrooper Storyteller Down Under.
They actually. I don't know if they met up because they're fans of the show, or there's just they realized that they live close together through IG and the toy photography community. But these two have linked up, and they are going out and making some shots together. Down there, they can't quite get the explosives we do, so they do all their fireworks with just sparklers, which is impressive because sparklers don't typically play well, if you will.
Yeah.
Greg's crazy ass, he tapes some motherfuckers to his lens hood. Which is just balls of steel. I mean, I'm talking like a lens hood might give you 2 or 3 inches of protection from the actual lens. But Greg, he tapes live sparklers to his lens hood.
Risking life and limb.
It's amazing. It's amazing what he'll do to try to get some of the fire in there. But anyways, on the Stormtrooper Storyteller, not sure if this was a team-up shot with Greg, but I know they are buddies, and they do go out and have some toy safaris together, which is nice.
Yeah, and what we see here is in the foreground, you see Commander Bly from, one of the clone commanders, and then in the background, you see, actually, which is really impressive, knowing that it's just sparklers.
Yeah.
And actually, like a very good kind of, mushrooming explosion in the background.
I know, man, because I'm telling you, I know Sir Dork has kind of perfected them too, but he's using multiple layers. I mean, sparklers are hard to get to resemble an explosion, at least harder than, us assholes over here in the States. We'll just go buy little sticks of dynamite or crackling balls, and you're going to get some sort of explosion and particle effects. So I am impressed with what they can do with sparklers. And I know Greggy Boy, he's got himself some sort of diffusion or canned air company down there hooking them up. So I don't know if they're using that in this shot. And Greg did clarify this is all Stormtrooper Storyteller's work.
There we go.
Greg was just maybe there for moral support, or who knows, gave him some of the fire.
Yeah, gave him some of the explosions himself. But yeah, I mean, you get good atmospheric smoke effects coming from the explosion in the background. Bly standing in there like a badass with his gun slung over his shoulder. Just overall, really good composition, really good atmospheric effects. And then, having Bly as the focus was really, stands out, pops really well. Good coloration in the background too. So overall, just a really nice, aesthetically pleasing shot.
I mean, it looks like he's coming off a hard day on the battlefield of kicking Sepp ass. So.
Dude, I could almost see like him like with his hand not holding a gun, just like throwing a grenade over his shoulder, and like that's the explosion.
Yeah,
in the
right.
background.
Like see ya, just leave a parting gift. So good work there, Stormtrooper _ Storyteller.
So this brings us on to the Matt Haywood.
I haven't seen this yet, my friends.
Breakdown.
This is going to be my first time scrolling up. Oh, you always go. Okay.
So
all right.
So I went back a little bit. I didn't go all the way back. I could have gone a little bit further, but this was posted July 26, 2018 from Matt.
Which means I probably took it in 2016 or 17. I do not. I've only gotten to the point now, my friends, like some of my shots you've seen now where you're like, wow, you're getting kind of good at this. It's like, well, now I'm actually fucking taking shots and posting them within the same calendar year.
Yeah. So what you really see
baby steps. I still have not gotten out and done an actual shoot in probably 6 weeks now. It's starting to get a little depressing. I don't want to say I've fallen completely out of love with the hobby. It's just
mental break,
dude. It's getting tough here in a family with a fresh 4-year-old where both parents still have full-time jobs. It's starting to get rough to, go do what we used to do. All right. I'm not going to sit here and bitch. Yeah. I have a fucking job. I'm still making money. Life is good that way. But in terms,
do not have a job.
Right. Like I'm not going to sit here and bitch like, oh, I got a fucking job. Life sucks. I mean, my man here doesn't have work. So I understand that. I'm not trying to be a douche. I'm just telling you, I've lost a lot of my hobby time is gone right now. And that's fine. Whatever. We'll do what we got to do. I'm not going to send my kid to fucking daycare when both her parents can't go to their own work because of death. All right. So
yeah,
it is what it is. So I'm not shooting, but here we go. All right. So this is a Captain Rex shot here. This is a just vintage bad Haywood Pop posing, right? This is just how not to pose 101. What's he doing? Like what's Rex doing here? Is he running like, is he running around like a weirdo? Why are his hands crooked? Why is one gun this way, one gun that way? Why is he looking up into the sky and not in front of him? It's just one of those deals where I didn't know what the fuck was going on. It's just like, this character looks cool. I mean, I guess you could say, if you're on the video version, I gave him a somewhat decent weathering job.
You did, yeah. I like the weathering. What's the part? So, like the particle background, is that another
this
one
would
of
be
your
either
patented kicks?
Yeah, this would either be a foot to dirt kick or using a drain cleaner. They're kind of like super soakers, Nick. You pump them up and they store air, and then when you release it, the air, there's so much pressure it explodes.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, this is me fucking around with that type of stuff. I mean, I
gotcha. Like
I said, this shot has to be 3 years old in terms of when I actually took it. And that's no excuse. I mean, it looks stupid. It is. It's just, I mean, I don't care. I mean,
I look at the because I think you did a great job with the weathering too. I think the background particulate spray looks really good.
Yeah, I mean, he stands out. It's a crisp shot, if you will. It's the pose, Nick, is terrible. I mean,
the posing could be a little bit better. Yeah. I mean, it does
look
like
Rex
weird.
Is literally either sauntering off the battlefield or running, looking at the sky, literally screaming like, "No, don't hurt me, don't hurt me." It doesn't look like Rex. He doesn't look tough. He doesn't look like a badass. I mean, I should have had.
There's not a lot of action.
Right. I should have had him at least looking in one direction where the guns are pointing. That would have helped a lot. Okay. I mean, that would have helped a lot. Because otherwise he looks like he's drunk. Someone spiked his booze and he's just out having a good time celebrating the Star Wars New Year or something like that. He's these people that get out there and just start shooting live ammunition up into the air as if it's never going to come down and kill something.
Could be that. It could be a Life Day celebration.
There you go.
Just firing his guns randomly.
See, there you go. It's a perfect pose for a Captain Rex Life Day celebration. But yeah, man, hey, you live and learn, grow a little bit, not too much. I'm never going to be a pop or one of the all-stars, and that's fine. I'm good with that. I want to get my motivation back to actually shoot some figs, because as I worked on eliminating my backlog when IG liked me and I had the motivation, it's now starting to build back up because I just don't care. I mean, I've got Baby Yoda. I still have not shot Rubber Suit Luke. No one has. Like, it would actually get attention just because people think it's a shitty figure and someone bought it. Still haven't shot it. I got the Figure Arts Mando. He's laying there. We got Zori. We got the Knight of Ren. I've got some Marvel figures. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe this weekend. I think Father's Day's coming up, so technically I can treat that like a birthday.
Yeah,
and kind of do whatever I want. Close. So maybe I'll schedule in some toy photography time, and then I can shit on that shot in a segment on the Star Wars Time show.
Well, I mean, that's the end of the shot breakdown from Matt, and that's the end of the top 5, and that's the end of the show, everybody. So Matt, why don't you lead us into the dance?
We did it. We made it. I'll try to go to the homepage, but on my desktop, Safari doesn't like our site. There we go. That's right. As Nick said, we're dancing right now. Look at these moves. I'm going to flex for you. See that? Boom. Boom! Warrior training, kettlebells and steel mace only. That's how to do it. I'm preparing for the apocalypse. But anyways, now that we're done with the dance, we're on StarWarsTime.net. Why are we there? Well, that's where first off, you can check out our content. We do try to put out a post at least once a day, every other day. It really depends what's out there and what is going on in real life. But the reason we want you to go there is so you can see what we're going to talk about on the Star Wars Time Show. And you can do that by subscribing to the podcast. So you just click on the subscribe to podcast link up there, or you could scroll down and get it in the sidebar. And as I always say, we've got every platform, so shut the fuck up with your excuses. Now, once you're on the platform, we need you to do something big. And I'm going to keep saying it because it is dwindled and we don't have enough. You've got to leave the ratings and reviews. I did a little bit of digging, and it seems, Nick, some of our uptick in listens is coming from Pandora, which means Pandora is probably sharing the show with people searching, which could be a result of people leaving feedback, this, that, and the other thing. I'm telling you, just like Instagram, these algorithms will only look at shows like ours if people are interacting with them. And how do you interact with a podcast? You rate it, you review it. If you're on YouTube, you like it, you share, you comment. It's not much.
Subscribe.
Right. We're not asking for the money yet. It could get there. At some point in time, I think we have enough people that like us that they would maybe give us a couple dollars a month to do this shit. We're not there yet. I need to feel like we're somebody before I actually start soliciting cash. So until then, just do the easy stuff. Talk to friends about it. Leave reviews. Right now, people listening, just take a time out, go to iTunes and rate it, review it. I'm telling you, as a computer scientist, as a champion of the internet and SEO, it goes miles. Miles. Much more so than even our shitty content. They don't care about our content as long as they think real people like it. You getting it now? All right. So help us out. Rate and review. We're all over the place. YouTube, all the podcast channels. All right, my friends? And why should you do it? Well, there's always time for Star Wars time. Just look at our friends in the live stream. They know it. They found their time for Star Wars time, and so should you. And if you listen to the Star Wars Time Show, the Force will be with you always.